All right, guys, how you doing? We're moved on now to our main event, the retrospective of Antman and the Wasp.
Mm-hmm.
It's this movie and then one more, and then we go into Endgame, which is a big deal.
Oh,
I am
my
counting down.
God.
If you can't tell, I'm a little excited. I'm excited to do this one too, but boy, this close to such a big movie, especially right after our big hype and fun with Infinity War that we just had.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Oh,
almost kind of like I wish they didn't do 2 movies in between here. But we're going to talk about this movie, guys. We're going to have a good time with it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to go ahead and do the quick history behind the thing. See here, Sam.
okay.
And then I'll let you do the synopsis, and then we'll jump right into breaking this down. And forgive us, guys, if this is a little shorter of a retro, because frankly, this was just one of those movies that doesn't have a lot to talk about. We kind of mentioned to each other last night. It's not bad enough to go on a rant. It's not good enough to go on a rant. So we're just kind of in the middle. And you're going to see a very good middle ground here, but in a positive way and in some negatives. And it's, we're back to doing some critiquing. We've been spoiled with a couple of really good ones in the last few weeks that I think Marvel needs to remind us that they're still human and make mistakes. So we're going to talk about those.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
let's hop into the quick history of this, guys. This is Ant-Man and the Wasp. Release date was July 6, 2018. Main cast was good old Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Pena, Hannah John Kamen, right? That's how you say it.
Yep.
John Kamen, yep. Lawrence Fishburne, Morpheus, Randall Park, and Walton Goggins, my man Walton. History behind the film. Following the enormous success of Avengers Infinity War, Marvel Studios intentionally positioned Ant-Man and the Wasp as a smaller, more personal adventure that would provide audiences with a change of pace while quietly setting up one of the MCU's most important concepts, the quantum realm. Development began shortly after the first Ant-Man exceeded expectations in 2015, with Marvel bringing back director Peyton Reed. Unlike the first movie, which endured years of delays and a last-minute director change, the sequel enjoyed a much smoother production because Marvel and Reed had already established the franchise's tone. By the time filming began in 2017, the MCU was firmly in Phase 3 and had evolved into the biggest film franchise in the world through Captain America Civil War and Avengers Infinity War. Rather than trying to compete with the universe-ending stakes of those films, Marvel deliberately embraced the heist comedy formula once again, focusing on family, redemption, and hope, while subtly laying narrative groundwork for the franchise's future. At the time, Paul Rudd had firmly established Scott Lang as one of the MCU's most relatable and humorous heroes, and once again contributed to the screenplay alongside the writing team to ensure Scott's voice remained authentic. Evangeline Lilly was finally promoted to co-lead as Hope Van Dyne, fulfilling the promise teased at the end of the first film, becoming the MCU's first title character to share billing with a male hero. Lilly trained extensively in martial arts and stunt choreography to distinguish the Wasp's faster, more precise fighting style from Ant-Man's. From Ant-Man, sorry. Michael Douglas returned as Hank Pym, with Michelle Pfeiffer, joining the MCU as Janet Van Dyne after decades as one of the Hollywood's most recognizable actresses. The filmmakers viewed Pfeiffer's casting as particularly meaningful because Janet had been one of Marvel's earliest female superheroes in the comics. Lawrence Fishburne joined as Bill Foster, further expanding the MCU's scientific community. Not that it really matters because he never comes back. Behind the scenes, Marvel chose a usual approach to the film's antagonist by avoiding the traditional world-conquering villain. Instead, Hannah John Kamen, sorry guys, portrayed Ghost, who is reimagined from the comics as Ava Starr, a sympathetic character suffering from quantum instability rather than a straightforward criminal. Marvel wanted audiences to emphasize with Ghost's description, making the central conflict more about conflicting goals than good versus evil. Walton Goggins' Sonny Birch provided the more conventional criminal element, but the emotional heart of the story centered on rescuing Janet from the quantum realm and helping Ghost survive. Production took place primarily at Pinewood Atlanta Studios, San Francisco, and locations throughout Georgia. With the visual effects team expanding the shrinking and growing technology introduced in the film, the filmmakers created even more elaborate, oversized practical sets and miniature environments to enhance the illusion. of changing scale, while incorporating real macro photography whenever possible. One of the movie's biggest behind-the-scenes priorities was further developing the quantum realm, which had only been briefly glimpsed at the first film. Working closely with Marvel Studios President Kevin Feige, the creative team designed the quantum realm as a mysterious dimension where the normal laws of physics no longer applied. Although audiences didn't yet know it, these concepts would become absolutely essential to Avengers Endgame. Another fun production detail is that much of Louise's rapid-fire storytelling, played by Michael Pena, remained one of the franchise's most beloved comedic traditions, with several versions of the narration improvised and refined during production. That's so awesome. When Ant-Man and the Wasp premiered in 2018, just months after the emotional ending of Avengers Infinity War, it was praised for its lighter tone, inventive action, humor, and strong chemistry between Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly. Critics appreciated the film's smaller stakes and family-focused story, earned approximately 87% Rotten Tomatoes from critics and around 80% from audiences. Financially, the film grossed approximately $623 million worldwide against a production budget estimated between $162 million and $195 million, making it the highest-grossing Ant-Man film at the time. Although it appeared to be self-contained adventure, its shocking mid-credit scene tied directly into the aftermath of Infinity War, while its exploration of the quantum realm ultimately became one of the most important narrative pieces leading into Avengers Endgame. In hindsight, what seemed like light-hearted palate cleanser proved to be one of the MCU's most quietly consequential films.
Okay. All right. So, guys, the official synopsis of Ant-Man and the Wasp is: as Scott Lang balances being both a hero and a father, Hope Van Dyne and Dr. Hank Pym present an urgent new mission that finds Ant-Man fighting alongside the Wasp to uncover the secrets from their past.
Interesting.
Okay. All right. Solid concept of a synopsis. Now, let's get into this sucker and figure out, did it pay off? How was it? Because I think, as my brother alluded to in the beginning of this segment, guys, there really is not too much in this movie this is the perfect, and we don't mean this in a bad way, but this is kind of the perfect mid-movie for Marvel.
Pretty much. Like, I would actually even go as far to argue that it's really, like, gaining it got a lot of attention because of Infinity War, unfortunately. I don't know if this would have done so well before Infinity War.
This is part of the pattern, I feel like, for this character already, and we've only seen him in two solo films at this point, but I get what they do after a big movie. They throw in a character like this because you're in the middle of the momentum. So, if, like you said, I think if this movie came out right before Infinity War, it would have taken a little bit of a dip.
Yeah.
And, Ragnarok was high, and then all of a sudden get to Ant-Man and the Wasp, and it's like, okay, go a little low, then Infinity War bring it right back up. So it would have gone up eventually, but I think that this is part of their strategy of, we're going to do this movie. There's only one aspect of this movie that's very consequential for what we want to tell later on. So just have fun and do whatever for the bulk of this whole movie. And this is what they got. And they're like, oh, we know where to place this now.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, it does speak a lot to, I just wonder, if the truth would be known, how not well this would have done without Infinity War before it. I don't think we would have had Quantum Realm, and I think that they thought, or Quantumania, I mean, and I think that they thought that it did well enough that it could hold up, and it definitely, but some of that's also because where this movie has all this praise and all these things they're talking about, in retro, now that we've done this, watched it like we have, I don't know if I agree with a lot of that anymore, unfortunately. Like, I'm trying to take out of my head that, okay, we're coming off a real big Infinity War, and let's just take it as a movie. So I'm taking it as a movie on its own, and it's mid to low in that aspect. So let's get into it so we can really talk about those things that we have issue with. And maybe I got a cool idea of what it should have been. I'm sure you have another one too. And I think that'll be fun to talk about that part of it, because it's really, I don't want to give too many things that are just mid a lot of time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about what those things are and what we do like too. Is things we do like, things I like a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the hard part about this is
I think
I want to love this guy or this whole thing too.
I think our history part was a little more praiseworthy and optimistic compared to
Well, it's a success. No matter how you look at it, it made the money. People went and watched it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's not a movie I tell people to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I'm not going to tell them. Don't expect it's not going to make you feel like the last 4 Marvel movies made you feel, though.
Yeah.
But don't avoid it. It's good, you know, but it's just not, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. It's not the bee's knees like they make it sound.
Yes, right.
So,
pun intended.
yeah.
All right, so I'll read Act 1 and we'll break this
Sounds
guy
good.
down.
Let's do it.
All right. So, Act 1. Scott Lang is days away from finishing 2 years of house arrest following his involvement in Captain America Civil War. Scott receives a vivid quantum message/vision from Janet Van Dyne, prompting Hank, Pym, and Hope Van Dyne.
Mr. Pym.
Mr. Pym. To track him down. Hank and Hope need Scott's memories to finalize the coordinates for a quantum tunnel that will allow them to rescue Janet. All right. That's Act 1.
Yeah.
Nothing big. Just the basic setup of what they want you to see for this movie. What worked for you, Ike?
So what works in this act for sure is, first of all, the chemistry between Paul Rudd, and I pulled this girl's name up because I didn't want to get it wrong. That's why I was messing with my phone. The chemistry between Paul Rudd and
young Cassie there.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember her name. For some reason, it's not popping up in my head, but the chemistry between Scott and Cassie, I'm just going to say Scott and Cassie, guys, because for some reason my phone's acting up on me. But I think that chemistry between those two actors is real good. I think Scott is one of the, you know, he's on that list of good dads.
Yeah, the very
MCU.
small list.
Just so happens to always be the superheroes. Like Scott is not a bad guy at all. Like, and that might be one of my other complaints by the end of this movie, to be honest with you. But what works is the humor is still there. He's funny.
Mm-hmm.
I am one of those. I've always been real picky about comedic actors in my life. I'm big movie buff. I've seen a lot of stuff. But I find certain things funny and certain things not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm not of the camp of the Will Ferrells or the Adam Sandlers and guys like that. I like them, and I think they're funny. I think Adam's stand-up is way better than his movies, and I don't think his movies are that good, and I don't think Will Ferrell, I think they're good one act sometimes. I've seen a Will Ferrell movie, and I've liked it, and it was a good movie, and if you've seen one Will Ferrell movie, you've pretty much seen all of them, and I think Adam does some different stuff every once in a while. I'll give Adam Sandler that, but for the most part, it's kind of rinse and repeat fart jokes that are funny a couple times, and a couple narratives, but when it's the same thing over and over again, it's kind of, but they're also more of, I call an outgoing funny, where they will do the crack the joke with the fart and we're doing this and having a good time. When Paul Rudd is of the camp of like the awkward, you know, it's straight face funny is what I like to call it, where it's people that they don't think what they're doing is funny, but it is funny. You know what I'm saying? Many movies, I'm sure you've seen a movie where the people in a movie, when they're doing stuff, they're funny, but they're serious about what they're doing, but we laugh because it's so silly what they're saying. So I'm not a big fan of when I watch a movie, you can tell they're telling me a joke. I like it when they're taking it seriously. And I think Paul is, over the last 20 or 30 years, between him and Vince Vaughn, are probably two of the best at it. He can say some real wild things that are really funny with the straightest face. And you're just like, that is ridiculous. And that's some of the reason why I like the humor of Drax, because that's how he is. To him, he's dead serious about some of the stuff he says, and it's ridiculous. And their reaction is how I feel, which is what you laugh at the most.
Yeah,
that's why they know that humor, because you know they're like, you got to do the reaction because that's what makes it even funnier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not going over their heads, or they're not just dismissing it as normal. They're like, "What'd you just say?" It's like, and I like that a lot. So the humor in this is still there. You know, I'm going to say it's throughout the whole movie, but I'll mention it, at least in Act 1, it's there. And it's very charming. Scott's very charming. I like the family feel aspect of the beginning of this. And I think it sets up for an interesting story. Like I'm interested in this whole, where Scott's got memories that he has a hard time remembering. I don't understand why that's not a thread that they follow through with again with the quantum realm, but it seems to be they just did it for this, which makes me think it was an excuse, which is what one of my complaints about this film right from the start. I'm like, I feel like this is a little lazy,
Mm.
you know? Um,
It's something that it just came into my head as you mentioned that had they stuck with their original plan of the Kang Dynasty, I could have seen that playing again for the Kang Dynasty, and that while he was down there and his interactions with Kang, he now would have memories and visions of Kang
mhm,
all the time, and this instead of
like
this,
haunting him.
yes, haunting
Yeah.
him, this dread of
Actually
what's to come.
give something to him other than just being a nice, charming guy,
He
because
he
that's all he is all the time.
I could have seen him being more of a focal point of view character for the Kang Dynasty because he's fought Kang before,
Yeah.
and now he's knows. That's what they tease at the end of Quantum Mania, is that he is questioning, is everything good? Is everything not? They already left it at that, thinking, okay, when we get into the Kang Dynasty, he's gonna be the one that we're gonna be following the most.
I actually think that
Kinda
was the
like
plan.
kinda
Yeah,
like Tony's dread with Thanos, he now would be the one that's dread for Kang.
that's right.
But
I actually kinda thought that was 100% what they were gonna do too,
mhm,
because, like, I think they were gonna play on the fact that people were gonna be like, "Wait a minute, Ant-Man beats Kang?"
mhm,
And I think that's what he was gonna think too.
yep,
Like, I think it was gonna be meta in that sense where he's gonna be like, "That guy was scary and I beat him, but
mhm,
why do I keep having these dreams like it's not over?"
yep,
Because it's not as simple as someone like him tricking him. He's
mhm,
gonna need help from bigger things. They had such a good idea. It's just, things
mhm.
happen and
'Cause in that I know we're in the 2nd movie, not the 3rd movie, y'all,
yeah,
but in that retrospective of that
it would have
makes
set things up in this better.
yeah,
Yeah,
it does, and well, it makes better sense for why they chose Kang as a villain in
that's right.
Quantum Mania, but we'll get there, I promise.
But it does.
So
You can complement some of the things in this and make you wonder why they're not followed through
yeah,
or made better in this movie
yeah,
because there was not much of a
mhm,
not much of a structure going on there in Marvel. That's the problem, right? So,
yeah,
but yeah, I so I'm gonna hop into really quick what didn't work, and I'll let you do both of them since it's
sure,
fairly easy. What doesn't work is it just feels retreaded.
mm,
This is okay. We've seen this, and it's okay sometimes, but it does make this is different because it's like it's not as funny as the funniest Marvel can be,
yeah,
and Paul Rudd holds up that funny because the others aren't as funny. I mean, Hank's got his moments, but he's probably one of the better versions of him in this because there is darker of him that we get to see in this and more interesting and some redemption for him at the same time.
mhm,
But there's not a lot of funny stuff for these guys. It's more out of Paul. And
mhm,
unfortunately, I think he gets kind of left in the dust because of that. And there's sometimes where the jokes he is doing, I think, would work. And when we get into the second act, there's a couple jokes that didn't work because everyone else wasn't as committed as he was.
mm,
Um, so yeah, I do feel like it's this, the pacing gets strange. I don't want to go too hardcore on the first act about giving it a hard time. Because there's a lot of setup with not a lot of momentum.
mhm,
Uh, Scott's character arc starts out as old ground already. I feel like Hope is kind of still. I struggle with her in this. I think she's a great actress.
mhm,
I don't know if I buy their chemistry.
mm. I see, in this movie, I don't see their chemistry as much. I didn't really see you saw the beginnings of it in the first film. This one, I honestly, I don't like this formula that some movies do for their sequels where the girl just doesn't like the guy for whatever reason, one way or the other, and almost like you're having to rebuild what you started in the first one. I feel for me, that gets kinda old.
She treats him like he likes her,
Yeah.
like for sure. And at the end of the first movie, you're like, oh, they like each other, right?
Mhm.
But she treats him in this like he was a one night stand and she has to work with him.
Yes. Yes.
But that's clearly not what they're trying to do.
Mhm.
But that's how it feels and looks. And it's kind of like
So the
I understand she's a huge feminist, and I wonder if that creeped into her to having a lot to say about the character. And it just makes me wonder if you lose the identification of something you're real passionate about outside of work that you bring into work. That it really, I think actors, a lot of them, good actors, will tell you that sometimes their life outside does show on screen because you're being vulnerable about who you are and then adding things that aren't real that you don't go through to make that occupy that space. And I think that there in every character there is a little bit of who that person is.
Yeah, because they have to put
Strangely
themselves in the character.
Right.
So I do understand
So
that.
I wonder
yeah.
if she just does not ever want to submit to the idea that she's going to play that woman in love with the superhero, even though she can still be the powerful woman she's going to be in it. I think she sees it as a weakness, and it shows in the acting. I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk. And I got nothing wrong with feminists. I think we're not going to have that conversation here. But if you were to ask, I have zero problem with her being who she is and what she wants to be, and being. I'm actually glad they made the Wasp. I'm like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't know why they didn't capitalize that in the first one either.
I get that you're talking about though as the character though.
Yeah, it
for
just
consistency
feels-
of the character.
Yeah,
That's
like, what did she do?
So-
She's mean. She's just like so cold.
yes. I gave her so much high praise in the first movie because I saw her acting ability and what she was able to do. And that's that one scene in that one where that emotional moment of hearing Hank be vulnerable and she was crying. I'm like, wow, that was the most. And I was very honest in that retro, guys, for the first Ant-Man. That was one of the few times in the MCU where the female character, I saw all the emotion on their face and it was so well acted. So she can do it. But this movie, it felt like, and I don't mean to say this in a bad way, kind of like stale bread. She was one tone throughout the whole movie. You could have brought some of those acting chops into like one scene of being, I was mad at you for what you did with Captain America. It put my father in jeopardy. That we just rebuild our relationship. And this is all the stuff that you did. I get it. You could do one scene of that, but move on and continue the progress that you made from the first movie. And you didn't do that. Instead, she stayed this character, this portrayal of her for the whole movie. And to me, it didn't look tough. It looked arrogant. And that does a disservice to Hope. Now, how do I say this properly? I think she does get better later on, but the problem is her role shrinks to the size of what her character is later on, so you don't get to see any more of that.
I think the best comparison for people that just watch the movies, and so we don't get too far into the political feeling of this, or I don't want to diss on this actor.
Oh yeah, I
think
love
she's a good actress.
Yes.
I don't think she's top notch, but I think she's a good actress. But I would say where Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow comes off as a vulnerable, strong woman who knows how to get shit done. She comes off as just a bitch to everybody. And it's not relatable or likable. Because like Black Widow can kick butt, and I don't need a man because she don't. And she can do her thing. And you can be like, whoa, do not get in the way of that woman. You know what I mean? And then turn around and still have those scenes with Bruce that are like very vulnerable and feminine and real. You know, that don't compromise her as a strong person. I don't think she knows how to balance that like Scarlett did. And I think Yolanda does the same thing. She does that very well too. She's Florence Pugh.
Yes.
So good at
Yelena,
just being like, I can kick some butt and I can do it on my own kind of thing. But at the same time, there's something about her she's still feminine, you know, and it's like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's natural. And she just comes off as, no, I'm going to be tough all the time. To everybody she talks to, and she's a bitch.
To what you said, that makes those female characters, the Scarletts and the Yelenas, more of a fan base. They have more of a following because people love those type of characters. They love that you don't have to, for them, like you just said, you don't have to compromise your femininity to be a strong, independent woman. And
I agree.
I feel like that's what Yelena is perfect at, balancing that vulnerableness of hers, while also she could kick some butt because she's a Black Widow.
Because on the other hand of that, Steve is good, like Rogers. Chris Evans is good at keeping that masculinity without being toxic. You know, he's very calm and caring and understands and lets people take the lead and do the thing that they got to do, but he's also there to do what he's got to get done. And it's just like that's something Marvel's done real good at, is not making us feel like there's a push, you know, until a couple characters, and this is one of them. And I don't know, I just get that vibe from her. I'm kind of like, I just don't like you, and you're supposed to be one of our heroes, and She's got great action scenes, though.
Oh, yes.
This is still part of Act 2, so we'll talk about that when we get there,
yeah.
right? So,
yes,
but yeah,
I agree. I think she could do it. I think she really could do it. I don't know if it was because we're just doing this as a retro, guys. We weren't there behind the scenes as exactly how this movie was made. So I don't know if this was the script calls for you to be mad the whole time and impatient the whole time.
mhm.
Or if this was, like you said, some of her acting played through some of whatever she was doing personally at the time. And I think that either way, it didn't translate well to the screen when we watched
It
it.
makes me wonder if that was the case behind the scenes, because when you get to the next movie, she might as well have not been in it.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder if that's why. Like, there's a hey, you're in this, but this is what I wrote for you, so you don't like it too bad. And I think that's why she kind of quit.
There's a yeah.
I think it all kind of tracks.
I think there's a couple of when we get to Quantumania, I have a couple hot takes of what happened to Evangeline Lilly's character, Hope.
Yeah.
That I think really, unfortunately, real world events do play into what happened with that. And I don't want to spoil it right now or talk too much right now, because this is her introduction as the Wasp. This isn't the sequel to it. So anyways, I will jump into what worked for me. Sorry guys, I think my throat's a little bit sore, so bear with me.
A lot of talking.
Lot of talking.
That's what happens.
Yeah, we talk a lot. Okay, so what worked for me is I like the revisiting that they decided to do with the whole plot of this movie. That was one of the things that I thought about after we watched the first movie, not just in our retrospective, but like when we actually watched the first movie in real life type thing. I thought, oh, it's too bad they didn't have Janet. And I liked Janet from the comics, and just like our history said, she was one of the first female superheroes ever made. She was part of in the comics, the original Avengers team. She was one of their founding members, which they changed for the cinematic universe. Of course, we understand that they picked different characters. But part of me was always like, gosh, I liked Janet as a character. I liked her and Hank's relationship because it was dark, it was twisted, it was very meta for real world problems that happens. But I know that if told right, it could translate really well to the cinema. And so I was very happy they decided, well, for the sequel, we're going to make the whole mission is to retrieve Janet and find her.
I agree.
So
Smart.
I do like that. I have to give props to when they the great setup. And all that they wanted to do from the first movie into this one paid off.
Mm-hmm.
Hope becomes the Wasp, taking on her mother's mantle. They go and realize that her mother is still alive, and they're doing everything they can to actually reach her. And Hank now knows he can do it because of what happened with Scott in the first one. So this really is a great follow-up. It's just there's a lot of stuff in it. It's like you have your sandwich, but you have the blandest sauce I think I've ever tasted.
Yeah.
That's probably the best scenario to give it. Be like, you have a great concept. It's just there's a lot of overlapping storylines and strings in this movie that I don't feel like ever come together as a tight bow.
100%.
So it's
I'm so glad you said that,
because that's how I felt. I'm watching this. I'm like, I'm seeing the dynamics of these characters. Oh, this one's introduced. Oh, there's something else going on here. And then, at the end, they somehow are within the same scene, but yet not connected to it. It was the weirdest feeling of this movie. And I'm like, how'd they do this and not see that? Like, anyways, we'll get there in Act 3 when it gets to that part. So I'm just saying that what worked for me was revisiting Janet. And I like Scott being under house arrest from the Sokovia Accords.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to try to mention that. I like the through line of the Civil War.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we do see that in the beginning of Endgame with Jeremy Renner. He just decided to completely retire, but Ant-Man, he didn't. And instead, he's placed under house arrest.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because he was already, this probably, to be honest, was a violation. I think they explained in this movie, it's a violation of your parole for doing something illegal. So now you're under house arrest. But almost like, we can't really arrest you because you are technically deemed a hero, but you need to be punished. So you're under house arrest.
This actually introduces one of my top 5 favorite non-superhero characters of Marvel.
Oh,
I love
yes.
Agent Wu.
I do too. Randall Park, you nailed it.
Why the hell they don't bring him and do whatever they can with him? It boggles my mind because he is just one of the funniest people I've
Yes.
ever seen. The stuff he says is so serious, so straight faced,
Mhm.
and you're just like, how ridiculous is this guy? I'm
It's-
also a youth pastor. Like, there's some of the stuff is just that is some good
Yeah.
stuff. I love his part in this. I love
Oh,
it. But yeah,
it's so.
continue.
I
Yeah.
agree. No, I completely agree. He's so good. I'm glad they brought him back in WandaVision
Me
because when they said
too.
he was going to be in it, I'm like, oh, this just got better.
I just wish there was room to have him back again. Like, there's a lot of that would be an interesting list that we could make sometime for if we are looking for a segment to fill. The
Yep.
list of non-superhero side characters that we wish come back, because
Mhm.
there's quite a few that are just gone, and it'd
Yeah.
be
Be like,
cool to
why?
be like, why is this person gone? It works so well. Find a way. Right.
Yes,
Like, 'cause then the ones
exactly.
you do kind of bring in, you're kind of like, why'd you keep that guy?
Yeah.
Because like we want the other one back.
Oh, I feel like in the top of my head, I could easily name off at least 3 or 4 people that I'm like, oh, I want to see more of them.
Two out of the Ant-Man stuff.
Yeah,
Sure.
right? Yes.
This guy and Louise, where are they?
And that's sad that this is Louise's last movie he's done. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was because of the story they wanted to tell in the third one. They were like, there's no way to put this guy in because we're not doing this type of movie, or if there was a behind the scenes drama or something. I have no idea. I'd like to look that up though.
It would be brilliant by Kevin Feige. The brilliance that would be this. I wish I could call them and say, that is a rooster. I wish I could call them and say, I don't know if that caught it. If it didn't, I want to make sure it's in there somehow. I would call them and say, you should release that second trailer of Endgame that you put in San Diego, but your third and final trailer should just be Louise explaining something that is kind of a spoiler, but a big deal, but in his words, to make us laugh, but also make us melt our face before we go see the movie. That would be a genius move, because everyone's going to go watch. You could not show another segment of Doomsday and the same people are still going to go watch that movie. You're not going to get anyone new. Everybody in the world's going to go see this movie already.
Yeah.
You know, really, the marketing for it's been so good. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
But throw Louise in there with that, just that, you know, oh, by the way, this guy does this and then, and maybe they're from that. And you're like, oh my God, he just told us something that they would normally show us as a spoiler, but he said it and we laughed, and I just think it would be genius.
And especially if he says it in his way.
Yeah, in his way, because
it'll
be
make
hilarious.
It'll not only be hilarious, but it'll make us question who he's talking about. He's like, oh, he said this, blah, blah, blah. And be like,
right.
Wait,
it's not very clear. It's cryptic still. Yeah.
It's cryptic, but like he's revealing a spoiler, but he's like that friend that's bad at telling stories. Like,
right, yeah.
He's going to tell you, oh, she did this, but we're like, who's she? Who is she? Who's she? You know,
and when you have all these people together, you could have had them do that where they're talking in their mouth. Like, it is so perfect.
Oh, yeah. At the end of Endgame, when they're all just standing there, that could have been part of the trailer. Be like looking at each one of them like they did in the movie and be like, oh, they're saying something. And he's just repeating it.
That'd
be hilarious. They could do that.
That'd be some of the funniest stuff.
Oh, my. Anyways, yeah. I love him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are the two things in this act that worked for me, is the follow through on the Civil War stuff.
Yep.
And deciding to go find Janet. I think those are pretty good, solid things. It's just like you said before, this doesn't get, and maybe we'll expand upon this in Act 2 and as a movie overall, but this feels like an Ant-Man movie without Ant-Man being the focus anymore.
Yeah, good point.
Like this, it is still his movie, and he is in almost every shot. But the problem is the story narratively. He's not on the visions that he has in Act 1 are the only reason they're getting him, and there's no really need for him until later when she's able to somehow take control of his brain, which I don't know how that. I thought it was a cool scene, but in retrospect, you're like, wait, what? You could do this?
These are the aspects of the quantum realm that they never follow through with that bug the heck out of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I broke my pen.
and some of that is because they canceled whatever they were planning on doing, so they could have explored this, but I don't know they would have remembered to explore it, to be honest. So who knows? But anyways, Act 1, that's what worked for me, and I started saying what didn't work for me. Let's see, what else I have in my notes, y'all.
So what's your standout moment for Act 1 then?
I literally wrote down here, I can't think of any. That I guess the standout moment for me is similar to what you said that worked for you is the chemistry between him and his daughter and having fun and he's kind of how do I say this? Because I think I put it as an underrated moment too. So I don't want to I'll dive into it a little bit more there. This still does parts of it sets up what happens to Cassie later. And I did put that as my underrated moment. And when we get there, I'll double check y'all because I want to make sure I say it correctly. Yeah, it is. And it happens right here in Act 1. Is him playing with Cassie, and then you realize what he's doing with her is playing heist.
That's my standout moment is the heist for it. It is hilarious.
It's hilarious, but
And it's
also
wild.
it is setting up for you're going to become your father's daughter.
Yeah.
Which that was one of the things when I first watched Quantum Mania that kind of was a pet peeve of mine is why you turn into a life of crime, Cassie. And even though it's low stuff, it's like petty larceny stuff, but still, it's not good stuff. And I'm like, haven't you learned anything from your dad? And then you watch this movie and you think, oh, wait a minute. You kind of learned how to be a heistman from your dad while you're just playing.
It's great setup.
It's really good
Yeah.
setup. I appreciate that now a little bit more for a movie that's I don't think is that good.
And this is
For
where
the
Paul
third
Rudd
one.
shines
Yes.
because he's funny, but he's very charming and he emotes real well.
Mm-hmm.
And the chemistry, you can tell. It's like you'd think this was his daughter.
Yes.
He's just, I mean, this shows how good of an actor he is outside of as a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish they took his character as serious as he's taking it.
Yeah.
I hope Paul's listening because we love you in this, and we want you to be one of the OGs that teaches the new Avengers as they come up.
Yeah.
But I just feel like they need to get their heads out of their butts, and
Mm-hmm.
I do love his part in Endgame. I'm glad that he's the one in Endgame that comes back and
Oh,
gives
yes.
I think it's genius, but I wish he treated his own movies with the same respect, And
When I think about that for Endgame, I think that was also another potential setup to make him a mainstay in King Dynasty, is things like that. Like they were setting those building blocks up from this movie onward of, this guy, not only does everyone like him, like there's like no one that doesn't like Paul Rudd, but
oh yeah.
I appreciate what it said in our history here that he decided to stay part of the screenwriting because he wanted to make sure the consistency of his character. And so this movie, and I will say this movie does not change his character. It's just it doesn't revolve around his character as it probably should have been.
As picky as the MCU can be about picking things out that work and making you not worry about continuity and let's take this from the shows because it works good. It's like they're by discluding him as a front character still even after the failure of making Kane the main bad guy. It's like just throwing out the kid with the bathwater. It's like you still try to still utilize him in that way, but now just revert it from Kane to Doom because I see he's in Doomsday.
Yep.
He might have a good part and they might have a great, I'm sure he will. I just hope it's, I hope it is substantial and decent and emotional and fun. And
I feel like
he
the
needs
Russo
that.
brothers knew that because that's why they picked him, because they easily could have just like, let's avoid this whole movie type thing. He did his 3 movies, he's done type thing, but no, I appreciate that they're remembering him and they're bringing him in. And one thing the Russo brothers has done up until this point is they've been able to balance every character really well and give them their moment. So it makes me excited to see him come back, to be honest.
Yeah, because he's one I could see after all the OGs are like, okay, I'm done for a while. I could see him doing a few more years. Him and Thor.
Yeah, he becomes one of the new OGs type thing.
They'd be great to see those two with Yulana, like training new people. What a fun! That'd be so fun to watch.
Right, I agree. So that's I guess my standout moment is him playing with Cassie. What's your standout moment? Is that the same thing?
Yeah, it's the whole heist fort is just awesome.
Heist fort.
Yeah, I love all of it. Yeah.
So what's your score for Act 1?
6 out of 10.
All right, I give it a 5 out of 10.
Yep. That's about. I almost did, but I'm like, this is one of the better acts, so I want to go a little higher for it. So
I usually how I would rate things like this, or I'm trying to get a little bit better with my ratings too, because sometimes I could get a little too overboard. Be like, oh, it's a 9. Be like, oh, wait a minute, it really wasn't, but whatever. So I find this as it's a good setup. There's nothing wrong in it. For the first act, but there's nothing too like jaw dropping. It's the perfect
Yeah.
mid, so I put it as a 5, right in the middle. Where it could, if they did something really bad, it could teeter down to a 4.5, but it never did.
Yeah.
But it never moved the needle up. So I'm like, I feel like, for me at least, 5 is like, all right, sounds good.
Something I've noticed in the MCU, especially when we break things up in acts, I think this is a perfect time to talk about it in this first act, is in the MCU in general. I tend to notice now that the better MCU movies that we tend to give a real high score to or really like and end up being a good movie are the ones that break the formula that this movie seems to be following.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd noticed in the MCU, they try harder to go away from that and do that because good example, the one we just talked about, that first act is more exciting than this entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not it's not because this is terrible. It's just that they know we can't do what we always do. We
Yeah.
need to we gotta jump in some stuff. Let's hit the deep end and go for it.
Mhm.
And it does. And any other, the same with like all the other ones that we end up liking. It's right from the start. Is we're just gonna get you there quick and
Yeah.
you'll catch up.
Yeah.
Yes, we will make sure you catch up. When sometimes when it's slow build like this, and this is still well, no, it's not early on the MCU anymore. See, I feel like that
Yeah.
because I forget how fast we go.
Yeah.
They should have known better. They should have been like, look, this is, this isn't going to work this way. We need this to be something different. And I actually have a pitch of a different movie. If it has to be a movie at the end, we'll talk when we do our, I actually, for the first time, actually have a pitch.
Okay.
For a whole different, well, not first time, but one for definitely a time. I think I like my pitch, but
I'm excited to hear.
I might actually need help with it.
Okay.
Because one part of the pitch I don't have finished, but I think you have knowledge enough to fill that spot in. So we'll have fun with that. So
Okay. All right.
Act 2, Act 2, right?
Yep.
So Act 2, we're pretty much in the middle of the movie, guys, is to build the quantum gateway, the team getaway. The team needs a key component from black market technology dealer Sonny Birch, who tries to double cross them. Ava Starr, who was Ghost, a woman suffering from unstable quantum phasing, steals Hank Pym's shrunken laboratory so she can siphon Janet's quantum energy to save her own life. Scott, Hope, and Hank must constantly reclaim, and protect the shrunken lab building while evading both FBI surveillance and Ghost's attacks.
Okay.
Whew, let's get into some meat and potatoes, guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to just go ahead and tell you what worked for me. I think this is the best act of the movie. I think this is where the most creative stuff happens. I like Ghost. I like her powers. I think it complements they go small, she phases. They actually, when they do their powers, it actually kind of feels similar. It looks similar. I think the action when they turn it on in some spots is really good. Like I like this whole car chase thing in this act. I was just going to say I like, but there's a couple things about those I don't like. I love the shrunken building. I think that's a great idea.
Yep.
Because it's real strange and it's like, oh, that's cool. I like that. I like they just shrinks the building, walks away. Very funny scene. Really good stuff.
There's something about the shrunken building that I'm not a fan of, but I'll let you continue.
I think we have similar thoughts. I like it, but the concept is tough. I think that maybe it wasn't a good idea, but I do like the idea. It's strange, and I go with it because sometimes I do just say, yeah, fine, it works. And it's kind of one of those things. If I think too hard, I'm not gonna like it, and unfortunately, that's a problem, right? And it's something that this movie does a lot. But this is the problem with the first act and the second act. If I would just I'm going to let you tell me what worked, and then I'll tell you what didn't work, and I'll save that for that. But for me, I think the pacing gets a little better. The action gets a little better. I do enjoy learning about the villain a lot, even though I might not like exactly what the whole situation is. I think she's doing a great job as this part. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with it for the stuff I like.
Yeah.
And it maintains the charmingness and the comedy to a degree, minus a couple scenes that fell flat. But like I said, because Paul is the only one doing it. He's the only one doing the work. But I'll save that for what didn't work. So what worked for you for this?
All right. So what worked for me? I echo a lot of what you said. I feel like of this film, this is the best act of the three.
Mhm.
So I completely agree with you there. Let's see.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry for the awkward silence. I'm looking at my notes and I'm like,
I know, I get it, because I'm some of this. I wrote some of this down, and some of it I didn't write down because I'm trying to be as honest but open about it, and
yeah. No, I can't say what I wrote down there because
once again,
I don't
Ghost
like
has
that.
terrible parents. More
Yes.
terrible parents.
Yeah, but so I don't think Ghost does Ghost have terrible parents? I think it was just a freak accident.
Yeah, I think they died.
Yeah, so
but still,
the good ones die young, as they say.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's kind of what happened.
they're either bad or dead.
Okay.
Right? They're either bad or dead.
Either bad or dead. There's no
You can't just have a mom hanging out.
Yeah, Scott,
We're
you're our
handmaids,
only
man.
hope.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, so what worked for me, I love this opening scene of Act 2 with Wasp becoming the Wasp. You get to see her. It is probably one of the best fight scenes this whole movie has, honestly. I think I would say it is the best fight scene this whole movie has. I love the creativity of fighting in the kitchen and making the salt shaker big, and she's shrinking down and running along the blades. I know it was kind of spoiled when you watched the first trailer of this movie, but it still was epic on the screen when you saw it. I enjoyed a lot of that stuff, and I liked throwing in that wrench in her plan of who is this ghost, and she's here, and now she's taking things, and how she almost killed Hank and trying to get it. Like, her dedication is there. And I like Ghost. This is a sympathetic villain. This is a really good redesign of this character. I didn't take too much time, guys, like I normally do, to look up the real version of this character to see how they reimagined him. Usually I do that, and my apologies for this one. Maybe I'll touch upon that later, because thankfully this isn't the last time we see Ghost, and I think they recognized how good of a sympathetic villain she is and why they selected her for the Thunderbolts. I'm like, that's great, that's genius. And in that movie, she does fantastic. And you could believe, because of this movie, she could be something like that. Because really, she is this girl that accidentally gets infected, so to speak, with quantum energy, where she is constantly in a phasing in and out mode, where, as she describes it, her cells are constantly tearing apart and regenerating. And it's painful for her. It's not just she's got cool powers she can't control. It's actually ripping her apart literally on a molecular level and stitching her back together in the same breath. And that hurts for her. So it's very valid what she's doing. And governments do what governments do. They see an opportunity, they use her, and they train her into becoming this sort of spy for them. Where she's phasing in and out all the time. So it's not like it's like classified stuff here, I think that's kind of cool that they did that. And then now she's broken free. I don't know how she broke free of the government's control. I don't think that's ever explained.
Nope, they never dive into it. I wondered the same thing.
Part of me wished it was part of the shield dump, because that would have at least explained why she doesn't have people above her, controlling her, doing all that stuff, whatever. And it would actually make more sense why Dr. Foster's there, because this is all this, they know each other because of their work at S.H.I.E.L.D. So maybe that is their way of saying that's how she broke out. But where's she been this whole time? Who knows, really? Anyways, I like her. She's a good villain. She's a sympathetic character. And she really makes this film good for how they portrayed her and how they reimagined her and everything. So I have a lot of good things to say about Ghost in particular. What else happened in this act? Because it really is just them running, and then they meet Dr. Foster. Now, I like Lawrence Fishburne. I think he's a great actor.
Yep.
I like the little twist in this where he's not a bad guy, but it just goes, if anything, this reinforces something very positive about this movie for Dr. Pym, that he's a dick.
Oh yeah, he doesn't like him.
And in the comics, he is that way. So for me, whereas some people would be like, why is he so bad? Be like, well, in this, it makes sense because from me as a comic perspective, he was like this. He was arrogant. He was self-absorbed. He always thought he was the smartest man in the room and he didn't think anyone else would have been above him. He is hard to compromise and work with other people. And they really displayed that well in this movie, that even your fellow brilliant minds in the room, you won't even acknowledge their existence or their contributions to your own work.
Right.
So I love all that stuff because not only is a comic accurate, but these guys, they act it really well for that.
Yeah, and where Stark was the same way, but where Stark was funny, Hank was mean.
Exactly.
And that
yes.
Stark was tolerable because at least he's a funny guy, and he wasn't, being aggressive. But Hank comes off as a very angry, upset person.
Exactly. Hank, you said it perfectly. He's just a mean dude.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, I liked all that stuff for this act. And that's really all that happens in this act. The things that I don't like, I'll just jump into that, then I'll let you jump into it.
Sure.
This is another. It continues the same thing that's happening in Act 1. It's kind of blah. It's kind of like mediocre. Louise and his characters, his friends there, all that, his coworkers, they really don't have any reason to be in this movie at all. And I feel at least
still the best part of it.
In the first movie, they were pivotal to some of their heist missions, to the origin of Hank meeting Scott. There was actually a reason for them to be there. This one, the only time, and I think you get closer to Act 3, is them spoiling where Scott is. That's it. Other than that, there's no reason for them to be there. And it underserves them. It's like you're paying these guys to be here and be on screen just for comic relief and not contributing to the overarching story. And you dropped the ball there. That it's like, yikes, in my opinion. That's wow. I like Sonny Birch, but this is another plot line that is underneath all this stuff that doesn't contribute in a good or bad way to the movie. It's just there. Almost like, why is it there? He's just a black arms tech dealer, black market tech dealer. That's it. And I get it that Hank and Hope are undercover from surveillance and trying to get parts. Okay, but and I like the actor. He's great. And he is acting the part really well. It's just story-wise. There's beats of this. I'm like, it's not really necessary.
Yeah.
And it's sad to say that these two teams there, Louise and his friends and Sonny and his comrades, they are not consequential to this movie. I was waiting for when it gets to the third act that, he actually had a key that would have helped save Janet, and he was there for this whole reason, this black tech dealer. No, nothing.
Yeah.
Louise is just sitting in the car with Hope doing the driving. There's other than the comic relief in that, which is pretty good and very, very funny. It's just these guys don't have anything. There's bones of no meat there. It's like, what the heck? So anyways, that doesn't work for me. And also, I think it's cute that part of their heist is stealing the trophy from Cassie's school. But also part of me is like, really? They make that whole scene a big deal?
That's part of the jokes that could have landed, but
yeah,
it's real flat.
Yes.
I think it was supposed to reflect the breaking out of jail scene in the first one. And it just wasn't that creative and fun.
Yeah.
And Paul was the only one going the distance.
Yes.
And it was like, it was frustrating.
Because there's many times where Hope really isn't just there. She's just laughing as she's floating and just flying. And then she just grabs there's a lot more of that for just entertainment comedy and not really pushing the story.
Yeah. I
get why they're doing it because they need the old suit that has a way of connecting to their lost building, which I will get to in a moment because I do have a problem with it. I feel like we both have the same idea about this portable building there.
I think in general it's about everything, but this is part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the yeah. Anyway, so I'll just touch upon that because that's in the top of mind right now.
Yeah, I want to save some of that for Act 3 because it's where I realized it the most. You know what I mean? But a lot of the examples are in these two. But you're right.
But the first thing that I had mixed feelings, especially in the retrospective, of when he shrinks the building down. Part of me is like, oh, that's cool. I'll go with it. Then another part of me is like, you're trying to be undercover and hide out.
Oh,
you don't think that some city official who's checking the water around the corner in this big city in San Francisco is not seeing that an empty lot is now suddenly filled with a skyscraper and then all of a sudden it's gone? Yeah. No one's trying to walk into that building.
What if you're in the building working on something and they don't know you're there? And he shrinks it. You're just, you know what I mean? Like you're just inside. Like, oh my God. Like that'd be terrifying. Like there's no.
That's the only thing that I'm like.
Someone saw this.
Like it's cool, but at the same time, it's like not. It's not logical, and I'm not meaning logical as in the building shrinks and not. That's cool. That's part of it. That's part of the charm of what they do. For the shrinking technology. It's not logical in that they think there's no one else around in the city. This is an abandoned city. It makes more sense they would set up the skyscraper in the woods, which they do later, than they would in the city because no one's around. So, like, I don't get it. Anyways, so that's all I gotta say about the building thing. It's interesting. It's a nice plot, but it also has a plot hole in it. So, anyways.
Yeah, and to reflect on that, with what doesn't work in this is I think you're 100% correct. Sonny Birch is just a very unforgettable character.
Yes.
And it sucks because you got a world-class actor playing this part. And it's like, you're not going to utilize this guy? Did you not see the two enormously successful TV shows he did? What's the problem here?
Yeah, and he's acting it really well.
He is a killer. And he doesn't do anything wrong in it. It's just, they just didn't know.
It's just like...
He's literally there because they don't. I'm going to say this, even though I should save this for Act 3, but I'm going to save it. They don't know what to do with Ghost because that whole plot line falls completely apart when you get to the third act.
Yeah.
And now you realize that we can't have a great big action scene with Ghost. We have moments of great action scenes with her, but we need to have an awesome chase scene in this. But it can't be with her because we don't know how to do that. She's just going to be there and she'll by chance steal the thing when no one's looking.
Yep.
So all these guys were just a reason for them to have a scene in it. And what sucks, because it is a good scene.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch, but you realize there's nothing here that means anything.
Yeah.
They're making up their own rules about things to make it fit a story that doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, so Scott's got these memories that he doesn't think, and now he's got to try to think about those, and they're going to use this, and it makes the mystery of it kind of cool and fun. But guess what? In the future, that's never going to be a thing ever again with anybody.
Yeah.
No one's going to go into the quantum realm and come back and feel that weird. He doesn't come out of it for 5 years feeling like he has no memories. All the Avengers don't come back with that problem. No one's got extra powers. Nothing ever repeats itself in this. It's only for this movie does it serve this purpose. And it's like, that's the difference between the lazy writing and the smart writing. Because if you were smart, you could do these things and have these things in it without making something up that doesn't fit, that when you realize it doesn't fit, never gets used again. And as this movie does this over and over again, it's like, well, for reasons, because of this, because of that. And it's like, okay, why'd you say this? Like, I mean, why the powers that she gets from being in there, that never comes up again. And then all the quantum realm stuff that they talk about, it's just gone.
Yep, for Janet, yeah.
It's just gone. They're just like, yeah, we're just going to pretend it doesn't exist because it was a mistake in the first place. Do they actually even explain why she needs to kill Janet to get the power?
See, that's the thing.
Do we want to wait a second?
No, I was actually thinking that exact same thing. One, how does she know Janet is there other than them saying that we're going to rescue Janet? But Hank jumps to this conclusion that when she says that she needs access to the quantum realm to siphon off those powers, he jumps to, oh, you're going to kill Janet.
Yeah.
Be like, huh?
The whole hinge of this movie is we don't want her to kill Janet to save herself. And then we get to the end of the movie and it doesn't freaking matter at all.
Yeah, well, and not just that. I don't know why they jumped Hank jumped to this and no one else said, hey, like, that doesn't mean she wants to kill Janet.
Yeah, I mean, the quantum realms, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on
Janet's
there.
one person, right?
Yes.
We don't even know if she's there still.
And
it's just based off
they're based off of
sketchy memory of him.
But
it could be an echo. He doesn't realize. They don't know. They don't just think they know.
All she wants to do is access the quantum realm to get her cells. Yeah, to help heal her. That's it. Her goal isn't I need to find Janet because I'm gonna suck the life force out of her. No, but yet Hank and Hope and even Scott believes it. They all jump to this conclusion that that's what Ghost wants to do. She wants to be a bad guy. She doesn't.
Remind me of this when we get to the part where I'm going to tell you my alternate version, because I think this movie actually will help me convince you that there was smart writing in Spider-Man.
Oh, boy.
Believe it or not.
Okay.
I think when I point something out to you, you're going to be like, what a missed opportunity that they could have done. But I'm going to tell you, that's how you can tell when you watch that Spider-Man movie we just watched and you watch something like this between someone that knows how to subtly do things to make you see the bigger picture and someone that just does not give a shit or doesn't have the direction for it.
Yeah. Okay.
This could be awesome. This could have been great.
Yes.
And it just isn't for those reasons. But anyways.
Yeah.
Anything else that really didn't work other than going too hardcore on that? I'd say the exposition overload in this is insane. There's just a lot of it.
Did the pacing hold up for you?
Yes and no. Towards the end of the act 2, I'm like, oof, this is getting rough. But the action was fun.
Mm-hmm.
The emotional momentum really slows down. You really start not caring.
Yes.
About a lot of stuff. You're kind of just like, I'm just here for this ride now.
Yeah.
And then the ride kind of still gets boring as it goes.
Exactly how I explained it a moment ago is why I emotionally just disconnected from the movie. They want you to feel like this is urgent to save Janet's life. And I'm like,
we don't even know if it's true. Yeah,
we don't even know. Her goal wasn't to kill Janet, but they're saying it was. So we're, as the audience, supposed to just believe it and go on this ride with them if they got to save her before Ghost gets to her. And I'm like, I don't buy it because that never was something. Ghost never explicitly says, I want to kill Janet or I need to kill Janet. She just says, whatever it takes, I'm going to get into that quantum realm. And Hank's like, no, my wife's there. Be like,
it actually really paints Hank and Hope in a really dark way that if they would have actually leaned into, maybe would have helped the movie. Maybe if they would have addressed the idea of, hey, wait a minute, how do you know it would even hurt her? And Hank would be like, I don't care if it would or not. It'd almost be like, cool. You know what I mean? Like, because we know there's a version of him that's like this. He can be this way. But the fact that it's just a plot hole that they didn't know how to fix shows that it's lazy.
You're right.
They could have leaned into this.
Yes, they could have leaned into it and made it better.
How awesome movie. You get to the end and Hank's the bad guy, really. Ultimately, you're the one causing this problem.
Yep.
And it'd be like, interesting. Because Hank is that, right? But, I digress. We could probably think of 10 different ways this movie could have been better for those reasons, One thing I do like, I think there's a best character moment in this, I'll say.
Okay.
I think it happens in this one. Is this when Hank and his daughter are sitting in interrogation, they have to get out and they're trying to escape together? That's not Act 3, right? That's in Act 2. Why do I feel like I can't remember?
I'm trying to remember that.
If it is, that to me is the best character moment.
Okay.
I think it's the only time you see these two actually connect again, where there's some humor, and in the middle of the humor, there's real things about I'm proud of you and all that. Yeah. And I like that. If it's not in this, it's probably my favorite Act 3.
Yeah.
But my definite Act 2 favorite then, to be honest with you, other than the whole chase scene in general, I think it was real creative and worked. I do like the Giant Man stuff. When he
in Act 3.
Yeah, when he uses the truck as the skateboard is a standout moment to me. And I like that when he reaches down and takes the thing and then he just pushes him over. I mean, those things are very creative and fun. And I like that he passes out into the water. And there's a little bit of an emotional thing where she becomes vulnerable and jumps in and saves him. And it's the only time we ever see her give a shit about him. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like...
Yeah. My best character moment for Act 2 is the Wasp introduction to fight scene. I like that.
Oh yeah, the kitchen scene is that's freaking
that's my character moment, at least. That's a standout.
I agree.
That one scene helps save a lot of this movie. How well they did it.
Yeah, I mean, because they kept to par the action like from the first. I wouldn't say it's as creative as the first got. But I
yes.
will
Yep,
say
I agree.
it kept the look of it though, and I like that because
Yep.
when she's running down the blades of those knives, man, this is cool
Yep.
stuff. And it just makes you wish you could have done this a lot. You could have had a lot of fun in this movie,
Yep.
which I think you're gonna like my alternate version of this movie for that reason.
So, what's your score for Act 2?
I'm gonna give this a good solid 7 because I think the pacing was better. I had a lot more fun. I was more engaged until it started getting closer to Act 3. So I want to give it a 7 to be honest with it because
Okay.
it is some of my favorite stuff.
I gave it a 6.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, we're right there with each other on this.
All
Pretty
right.
close.
I will read Act 3 and then we'll dive right into that because
Yeah.
we it sounds like we have a lot to talk about for Act 3.
Well, we got a lot to bitch about.
All right. So, Act 3, guys. Hank
Yeah.
Pym travels directly into the quantum realm in the subatomic pod to retrieve Janet, while Scott and Hope engage in a high-speed vehicle chase through San Francisco to keep the lab away from Ghost and Sonny Burch's men. Hank successfully returns with Janet, who uses her newfound quantum energy to stabilize Ghost's condition. Scott finishes his house arrest just in time without the FBI catching him out of the house. I feel like it's a little bit of an oversimplification for the third act, but it really is just this.
It's pretty close.
But there is a lot more. It lives up to your traditional superhero formula of a lot more action.
Yeah, I mixed
Act
in.
3.
I kind of made a mistake about the acts of like the high speed chases and all that. So I did talk about some of this already.
That's
It's
okay.
gonna be even easier to get to the stuff we don't like.
So, did the ending land for you?
No. Nope. I felt like this was I don't feel like it was earned by anybody in this whole thing. Yeah, the ending doesn't land, and neither does the climax. So, without getting into what I think they should have done, it's just so underwhelmingly confusing.
Yeah.
And like I get it, but I'm just like, oh, I didn't follow this. It's this some of the problem I have with this whole thing is the villain's conflict thing just kind of really becomes very unclear and falls apart. With this, like you said, do we even know it's hurting Janet? Do we even know it's going to be a problem? Well, no wonder. I mean, there's some emotional beats that I think pay off, but that's a bit about it. And they don't pay off well enough because there really nothing happens at the end of this. It's all a big, we just had fun chasing each other around to just let Janet out and save me anyways. So what's the conflict here, really? I'd still have trouble figuring out what the real conflict of this movie was. Other than Hank being an asshole 90% of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you that the ending it's so sad how they did this that it could have been an epic rescuing your loved one type feel.
I know.
Like, have they not watched some of these older movies, even the ones that like a Princess Bride type movie or different ones that are like we can tell this epic heist into the quantum realm in a really cool way that rescuing her. And I wish also how do I this is it's hard for me to really get into explaining without touching upon Ant-Man 3 just because there's a lot of questions about the quantum realm, how she was able to survive that long. And even when you get to Ant-Man 3, you still have questions of how are you able to survive that long? You're a human eating whatever they got in there. Like there's just some weird beats that's like, do you not go hungry in this place? She obviously grew old there, so it's not like time. It was not. See, it's another thing that is this doesn't hurt Endgame because Endgame is just a gold star in and of itself. It hurts the other things around it though. If you're in between times, like you are in the quantum realm, going from one time to another and using the quantum realm to travel and that's live in, you don't really age. Because they showed that in Endgame when he goes in and you don't know how to travel it. You either come back super old or super young, but if you're just in there, like Scott was just in there for so many years until he accidentally came back out, he never aged. For him, it felt like 30 minutes when it was really like 3 years or something crazy like that. Yeah, right? So why is she old? if she's just stuck in there, isn't the 50 years or however 30 years that she's been in there more like 3? Like, I don't that is and I know it's the quantum realm, it's not real. So, make up your own crazy rules, they defy logic or well, they defy physics. I get it. But there has to be a logic to the madness. There's always some sort of order to any madness you put into these films. Same thing with magic. Like, you can't be this free for all, my get out of jail free card type thing. Quantum realm can't be that way for these people too. Like, there has to be some rules established because what they do in this movie, I can follow it because you're just being introduced in the quantum realm. But in retrospect, it doesn't make any sense when you see what happens in Endgame, what happens in Quantum Mania, all this different stuff.
Well, it makes me think that maybe the thing they're not explaining to us, and maybe they kind of did a little bit in dialogue, you might get the idea of this without it being clear. So I don't want to put this down in stone.
Yeah.
But if I had to be someone to try to defend this, the other side of it, because I'm in agreement with you, it's another example of they're just going to make up a rule to fit their movie,
Yep.
and then not really care about it later.
Yep.
At the very least, this could be chalked up as maybe when you're in a certain spot in the quantum realm, time is like that, like when you're in between.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe when you're there, like where she was, you do grow older.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Maybe
I can
there's
see
a
that.
flow that's different. Like if you're in this area, like if you're going, it's like traveling through, it's like a highway of time. Maybe that's where nothing changes.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go somewhere, you continue on. So maybe where she spent that time knowing Kane and having an affair with Bill Murray and all that stuff, which is whatever their reasons for doing any of that, it still makes no sense.
Yep.
Other than she thought, I get that she had the effect. I mean, that's not that, but it just had nothing to do with the movie is the point.
Yeah.
Like I get if you're stuck there and you think you're never going back, you're just like, I'm here, this is my new life. I can see you after 30 years. At some point you're gonna move on or try to make it normal. Which makes me wonder why she came back anyways then. And if she was always trying to leave, then why go be with someone else? But anyway, that's crap for the third movie, guys. But I think the time thing, I guess the cop out way is, oh yeah, it's different when you're traveling. There's no, that's where you stay the same. But once you get to a destination, that's where you start aging.
Things start acting
And
normal.
it's like, oh, okay. Because it's like you say it's kind of like how Steve used it to travel back to go be with Peggy.
Yep.
So technically he uses a quantum realm to go somewhere. This city that she's in this third one just so happens to be in the quantum realm, but it might have its own rules once you're there kind of thing. It's so unclear, but that would be my half-assed way of making it sense. So I can kind of forgive it because it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you could explain that later. And I'd be like, yeah, you could have explained that better before, but at least you did now, because that would make sense to me. But they're not clear about it though. So it leaves you wondering why. When they could have just easily said, well, when I'm here, when I'm in the slipstream, the time stream, nothing changes. So that would explain why Scott was in a spot that he wasn't somewhere. He was just in, for 5 years or 5 minutes to him.
The quantum realm also poses a lot of problems with the TVA.
A ton.
Because I know this is not the TVA yet, y'all.
God, you're hurting my brain.
But, like
But they got to know about the quantum realm. Like
if they're in charge of keeping the timeline, the sacred timeline, as clean as possible, you don't want the Avengers traveling back and forth along the timeline.
You know what's sad about this, Sam? I think this was all supposed to be Kang Dynasty stuff. Was all going to be quantum stuff. I really do.
And
I think that's why Quantum Mania was there. I think that's why they set that city up. I think the whole idea was they wanted to see our world collide with the quantum realm, and Ant-Man was going to be the forefront of this Kane Dynasty thing, where the Avengers are going to get involved, and there's going to be this whole quantum expanse and understanding, and we just went from that to we are in the multiverse thing, so I wonder if they were going to use multiversal stuff in the quantum realm and help that explain multiverse. And now they can't because they got to stay away from the Kane. It really feels like this is part of that the correction is this gets thrown to the wayside.
Yeah.
It feels that way, doesn't it?
It's just, there's a lot of bigger question marks.
As soon as you said that, it makes me go, why aren't they talking about the quantum realm? You're right.
Yep. There's only one time that I remember, and we're going to do retrospective on the Loki series so we can tell you how often they actually do mention it. But I feel like this is like their little back door of we need to close this door if we're really the TVA and keeping everything as sacred as possible. Well, if it's supposed to play out this way, we don't want people to just nilly-willy going inside this thing.
Yeah.
You know? Like, they could have been the villain of this movie. To be like, you're trying to build the same thing we don't want you to have access to. This could have been your introduction to the TVA. Then you don't hear about them for a while. And that's because they could have explained in this movie, oh my gosh, I have my version of this movie already. That you know what's about to happen. Their post-credit scene of this movie could have been what's about to happen. We need to let it go. And build the suspense up for us to be like, what does that mean? And then you see what happens. You're like, oh, that's cool. And they had to step away. But that could have been your villain of this movie. Okay, I had my version. But anyways, because I kept thinking, how do I make this better? Because I love taking movies that I feel like are mid or bad and kind of repurposing them to be like, this is fantastic.
That's why I got 3 separate ideas.
Yeah,
just from talking.
I've been having a hard time with this movie of.
I think you just gave me the villain of my one that I like. It's a TVA.
Perfect.
My brain just went, that's the one. That's the villain. And you'll see why when we get there.
Okay, anyway.
Maybe you'll like my version of the story then. We'll see if we can make one together here real quick.
I love it. You guys are watching us in our own writer's room.
That's right. Call us, Marvel.
Yeah.
Watch the Spider-Man thing that we just did. You know I'm onto some stuff. I'm looking, there's cars driving by.
And I'm not picking up, he's got, and vice versa. So we come as a team.
We complimented. So when we rewrote X-Men or wrote our version of Dark Phoenix, we went back and forth so well on, I'll come up with something and you'll be like, that is amazing.
Yep.
Then you'll text me, hey, I'm like, oh, that is amazing.
Yeah.
And then we found ourselves doing things and then later realizing we did that, forgetting we did this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we didn't mean to connect and we did. What was the thing that you realized not too long ago that made us blew our mind in the X-Men thing? It's during our X-Men podcast.
Yep. When
we realized the Jean Grey stuff. Like this is, remember, this is her before.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we did this already.
Yeah. That moment in X2 when he said at the very end, she made her choice. I immediately said, oh my God, we did that.
Mm-hmm.
We did that.
Full circle in Phoenix, yeah.
Exactly. We literally ended our Dark Phoenix with him saying to Jean, this is your choice to make. You take ownership of yourself. And she does it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So good.
So,
anyway,
that's
what I feel about that Spider-Man movie. I feel like this guy paid attention. And that's why I feel like that's why we got to watch it again. We
will watch it again because I feel like if he saw all those things there and as much of an X-Men fan I am, I should say, I will see it too. It's just usually how I go into a Marvel movie, and it's kind of interesting that I'm getting a retrospective of just myself as we're doing this podcast. There's a reason why I see some of these Marvel movies 2 or 3 times, because the first time is the initial shock and gut feeling, and then you let it sit on you. And you'd be like, okay, this is making more sense, or okay, this really has a lot more plot holes. It goes either way.
Yeah. I liked this movie way more the first time I saw it than now.
Yes. Well, it's the same thing when we get to our next week's episode of Captain Marvel. When I first watched it in the theaters, I was a little I'm not sure. Does this work? But I have a feeling, I know since then I've watched it multiple times, and we're going to, for next week, prepare for that retrospective. I have a higher favorability of that.
We're actually going to have almost an opposite discussion about that movie than today. Just to give you a hint.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So anyways,
let's finish this Act 3 off here. What were we saying?
Yeah. Best moment for Act 3 for me was Hank and Janet meeting again. I thought that was a nice, touching moment of reuniting husband and wife. For what it was, I thought that was all. That's the part of this movie I was waiting to, not just this movie, but this franchise, of waiting to see what they would do the first time they see each other and how they hug and everything. I'm like, this is, it's just sentimental. It's nice. And it's nice to see Hank have a soft spot for being this mean grouch that he is, So anyways, that's my best moment for Act 3, honestly. It's just that part. I do like the chase scene, the car chase, but I agree with you too, in retrospect, that the only way they were able to even pull this off was because they had to throw in a side character that really wasn't that consequential, and that was their reason to do it, is we need to give an epic scene at the end, and we can't use Ghost because she can't do this stuff. So we're going to use Sunny. And
gotcha.
it was like, okay, not necessary now.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's my best moment for Act 3. What's yours?
So I'm gonna clarify. My best moment for Act 2 was definitely them getting out of trying to break out of being in the interrogation room handcuffed there.
Yeah.
That was in Act 2. So my best moment is going to be in Act 3, the chase and
Okay.
all that stuff. Because there's almost nothing else in that I like, including Janet coming back in that meeting.
Mhm.
The other moment, and I do like, I'm saving for our end quick fire stuff. So.
Okay. Awesome. The biggest issue for me, I put literally, is this just seemed too messy. It just that they had all these different strings coming down of this movie that they're supposed to tie together at the end, and instead they just overlap each other, and there's not really too much of a follow through on some of these things, and
Well,
it
it's the theme of the problem in this movie is they
Yep.
do things that don't get followed through on that make sense.
they're not
just to
thinking
progress
ahead.
the story.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
And there's so many of them, between her not being, not knowing if Janet has to be killed, to Sonny, to all these rules, so what this means and what that means, and it's just they
Mhm.
didn't know what to do with it. They're
Yeah.
just like, we're just gonna make this happen.
So for me, the ending, does it land for you for me? If the ending is supposed to be Janet is freed and Scott is free from probation, then they accomplished that. It's just the story in between it was, I don't think it did land for me,
It's
because
not
I'm like,
worth.
there's
Yep.
nothing. Yeah.
Was it earned?
Yeah. Wasn't earned.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. So what's your score for Act 3?
3.
Mm. Wow. Wow. I see it. I see it. Cause I thought I was getting low. I put 4.
It's funny, we're right there.
We're right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
either
like,
one or above, but yeah.
yeah, because I thought, okay, this is the part where it really does teeter close to the not
Yeah.
good. But it wasn't like, to me, it wasn't devastatingly not good. But I get it. The 3, 4, they're just basically the same thing, just one
Pretty
point away.
close, yeah.
So, anyways,
I almost went 4, but I'm just like, that thing with the villain and just not knowing stuff, and it just makes you go, it's
yeah,
so dumb.
yeah. That immediately was like, oh,
It was such a letdown.
yes.
If you can at least give me a good climax, I'll give you a decent score, even if there's some things I don't like.
Mhm.
But this didn't feel.
Yeah.
I didn't feel any kind of urgency or problem, or
Mhm.
part of me kind of wished Janet didn't make it. And I don't know. I think it would have made a more interesting story, but we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So post-credit scene, guys.
yeah,
What happens? So the mid-credit scene is Hank Pym, Janet Van Dyne, and Hope Van Dyne set up a miniaturized quantum tunnel in the back of Louise's van on the rooftop. Why the rooftop? I don't know.
how'd they get the damn thing up? Anyways,
Right? And aren't they
oh, they
still
can carry it up. And
aren't they
guess
still
make it
supposed to
bigger.
be a little incognito?
Yeah.
Let's go on top of a skyscraper with a van. How that's I don't, maybe it's a parking lot. I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, why in broad daylight like that? Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, Scott shrinks down to travel into the quantum realm to gather, quote, quantum healing particles to help stabilize Ava. Scott successfully gathers the energy and asks to be pulled back up. Hope begins the countdown, but it goes radio silent. Inside the quantum realm, Scott thinks they're playing a prank, but in reality, on the rooftop, they've all dusted up thanks to Thanos. Scott is left stranded in the quantum realm with no one to retrieve him. Post-credit scene is the camera pans through Scott's empty house while an emergency broadcast... Wait a minute. Yep, yeah. While an emergency broadcast system alarm plays quietly on the television, and it's Scott's giant pet ant jamming away. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, the purpose of this really is just to set up Scott's participation in Endgame.
Correct.
And how important is this? I did put very.
This is half and half for me. You can't say it's not important, because it puts him in the quantum realm, and that's going to be something that that he is a big part of, and that's how he comes back, right, in 5 years. So it does set that up real well. It's just, yeah, I guess for the purpose, I have to give it a high. I'm sorry, that's not the 50-50 part.
Hmm.
It is important to the MCU. It really is. So you're right. It's high to me, about a 9, I say,
Yeah.
because we really need to know it going
Okay.
into Endgame. I agree with you.
I gave it a 10 because it added to suspense for me, and it was the only part of this movie that I'm like, okay, I'm back into regular MCU stuff
Oh
that I
yeah,
want to see.
definitely felt you like, okay,
So,
we're getting into some
yeah.
big stuff now. Yeah.
All right, so now we're getting into our deep dives, guys. This is some of our fun parts of the movies. So, what is your I could jump off and say what mine is too.
Yeah, sure.
Right off the bat. Best performance. I'm giving it to Paul Rudd. I like him in this movie. He still proves that he has the charm and that charisma that you want to see on screen. He gives an excellent performance.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I just had to pull up my notes on this. I had it in a different spot.
Yeah.
Because it gets mixed in with my others, and I don't read it right. So
yeah.
no, I agree. Best of the movie or for best performance is Paul Rudd.
Yeah. The close second for me is who plays Ghost, because I thought she did a compelling job at portraying a complex character.
Yeah, she's
like
the
that.
3 names.
Hannah John Kamen.
Yeah.
Yep, she's a close second for me, but it's I have to give it to Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
Who is your most surprising performance?
Mine most surprising is Ghost.
Okay.
I didn't expect to like this film, but then once I got into this movie, I'm like, oh, this person's real fun. I don't care for the storyline of hers,
Mhm.
but I think she committed and it worked. Or she worked.
Yeah.
I wish she just had a better role, which shows if you got good story, you'll have a better role, because look how good she was in Thunderbolts, right?
Mhm.
Like and it wasn't huge in that, but she wasn't misused. It was all made sense.
Yep.
I mean, I got to ask you something about the one thing about the mid-credit scene to kind of tap on this whole thing.
Yeah.
That was the thing I was thinking about, but I blanked out on. Did they explain why they needed to go into the quantum realm and get the stuff to help her stay alive? Like, is that a thing? Did they explain why that no longer has to happen?
So what's interesting, I'm glad you said that, because as I'm reading this, I thought I didn't think that this mid-credit scene was to help her stay alive. I thought it was just to explore the quantum realm, but obviously it was actually, because they were gathering particles.
they
They were
said
doing
that
they were
for
doing
her.
stuff, which again, that's another
Because
thing they
Scott
don't
was the
follow
one that
through.
mentioned, and I'll explore a little, and that's when like just be careful.
Mhm.
So they were going in there to get the particles for her.
Yeah.
So why is it when we see her later, it's just not brought up again? See what I mean? It's rules that don't get followed through with.
I think they were just like, you know what? Let's not do
We
this
gotta
to
have
her
a reason for
anymore.
him to go
She's
back
just
in.
good. Yep. Or she's just stable now.
Yep. They needed a reason for her to go back in, for him to go back in.
Yep.
So, well, you just get more particles. Yeah.
Yeah.
When in the long run, she healed her.
Yeah. And in
So
the
what's
long
the
run,
thing?
they could have just done it where I just want to explore. Now that you
Easy.
can go in there, you
Yeah.
can. That's a logical thing for me, is be like, okay, you could do it, so do it.
My other take makes more sense on why he goes back in.
But also,
Like I have the
it's
take I haven't told you yet.
it's another character assassination for Janet. If she's so freaking scared of the quantum realm, she doesn't even want to them to send
Why
a
play
beacon
with it? Yeah.
in there. Why go back in?
At all.
She could have said, "This is one thing we do not ever need
Put
to
that in a
touch
box
again."
and never open it again.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
the hell is wrong with these people?
You're gonna like my take on the movie.
Okay.
Because like
Anyways,
that's
yeah.
some of the reasons I don't like that she even came back.
So your most surprising is Ghost.
Yeah.
My most surprising is Randall Park.
Oh, good point.
I love Jimmy Woo.
He's so fun.
He is so good. I'm so happy that they brought him into the MCU. I'm like, great job, Marvel, at casting that. Good job at that. So anyways, that's my most surprising. Weakest performance for you. We might agree on this.
It's a toss-up between two.
Okay.
But the one I lean towards the most, because it really hinged on it working in the movie, is I gotta give it to Evangeline Lilly. She just comes off as a bitch.
Well, I give it to her just because this is supposed to be her co-lead movie. And it just, you don't give her, you give her a couple scenes of her due, but I don't feel like this movie is a dynamic duo buddy cop movie, you know?
I agree.
And not that this has to be a buddy cop movie specifically. It just has to be a buddy movie. If you're making her the co-lead of this movie, getting the same top billing type thing, then make this more about her and Scott's relationship. More of them having to be together and wanting to be together and working as a team to show the Wasp and Ant-Man actually can work together.
Yep.
Instead, she sidelines him all the time in this movie.
Yep.
And she, like you said, she comes off as a bitch throughout this whole movie.
Bitchy. And I just
I for the benefit of the doubt, I'm just giving it to the writing for that, because I don't want to think that that's how the actress was just doing it in real life, you know? Because I've seen her do better.
I wish it was that, but I really do feel that it was her. I think there's moments in this she could have, if she was better at this, the emoting certain things would have been better. But she just falls so short on a few of these moments. You know, and I am not a fan, by the way, just to make it clear, in the Act 3 that we didn't cover, that I forgot that we didn't. I don't like this possessing somebody thing and talking with them. That whole stuff doesn't work. Anyways. Yeah. Anyway, so, okay.
Well, I just don't like, it's not just the possessing things. I don't like the, I can live with the quantum realm messes with your brain where you're seeing visions. Okay, I can live with that. I don't like that Janet has quantum powers.
Yeah, stupid. Yeah.
I'm glad they got rid of it, but then at the same time they made it. It's so. I don't know. I don't like it.
I'm with you.
Anyways, where are we at? Casting wins. Casting wins and misses. So I think this was casted well.
Yeah.
The problem of this movie is not the cast. It's the story they gave the cast.
Yeah, I'm going to give the win to Louise. He does his job in this, being the comedic relief. All of his moments are pretty funny.
Yeah. Very seldom moments, unfortunately.
It's seldom, that's true, but I will say at the very least the win is you kept him and you brought him in, and you should have.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Missed opportunities.
So for cast and character, geez, this is a hard one.
See, the problem with this whole section can fill up everything of this movie.
So I'm going to keep the story part for the thing that we do at the very end.
Okay. Yep.
Because that is something it's way too elaborate to do right here.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to casting characters, I can name a couple of them. You have two big missed opportunities in this with Lawrence Fishburne and Walton Goggins. Lawrence Fishburne's character could have been a little more nuanced and written in better. I do think it was well, though. But the biggest missed opportunity is the sheer talent in Walton Goggins, and you give him such a bland, forgettable, who gives a shit character. And I don't even know why he's on the billing of this, you know? And I feel bad to say that because he's probably one of the better actors in this movie. And it's a missed opportunity to not do something with that guy. Make him be a part of the reason of why things are this or that. It'd be neat if he was manipulating something to make her think she had to kill Janet. You know, if he knew Janet was there, he had some sort of insight on something that was a secret. And you guys, they're smart to do. You can do these things with this kind of stuff. He's just a shitty, forgettable arms dealer or black market dealer, and it just doesn't work. It's like, we forgot about you, man, and it sucks because the guy is fantastic in everything else he does when you let him off the leash. And you put him in a box and you put him on top billing, and you could have had any Joe Schmo be in that part. So that's a missed opportunity to get a guy like that and be like, by the way, you're going to have the most blandish character. And I also put, for the casting wins, I forgot to mention is what's his face that plays Wu.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that is like, I mean, holy cow, what a great choice. But yeah, so yeah, that's how I feel about that part of it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I completely agree with you. Full on for that. All right, direction and production. So, usually I don't have too much to comment on this, but I'm gonna say director style / vision. Nope, I don't see it here. This reminds me of what we talked about in the first Ant-Man movie, where they did for that movie, it worked only because they needed to keep the momentum going and they had a great script already done. And they're like, let's not mess with it. We're just swapping director chairs.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But moving forward, the creative decision-making of Peyton Reed, you now see it fully fleshed out in this movie. And it is not good.
Yep.
And it's funny, as I'm rewatching this movie and I'm thinking back to old news stories and articles and things like that of things coming down the pike, he was campaigning so hard, Peyton Reed, to be the first director of Fantastic Four. He had a vision for
I
it.
remember this.
He had a script already. There was not a time after, I think, Quantumania, or right before it actually, when they found out the Fox was being absorbed into Disney, that he was not talking about it. And I am so happy Marvel dodged that bullet.
Yeah.
Because if we got the same crap that we got in this for Fantastic Four,
Could you imagine?
oh my
It was
gosh.
heartbreaking.
And you're probably a nice guy to talk with, Peyton, so I'm not saying anything about your character, but we now see in a couple films exactly what your vision would be for this, and it's not of the MCU par.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I thank the Lord you did not direct Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, no, cinematography and visuals, I think they were cool. Action was good. CGI was actually really good for it, but that's all behind the scenes Marvel magic stuff right there. The music was okay. I only put okay because they put the music in the cues where they wanted you to feel certain things, and that's part of the movie experience. You know, the high pacing music makes you feel the adrenaline, but when the story falls flat, it's hard to feel that other than feeling the sensations of the music. And I'm like, eh.
Yeah.
So that's all I gotta say about direction and production.
I'm gonna say that when it comes on music, CGI, action, and cinematography, I have nothing to add to it. You're 100% correct. I think it was at par. Okay. Director style. The only thing I'm going to add to that is I wish I knew more. If Peyton Reed, maybe you know, did he have a lot to do with the writing and story of this movie, or was this? Because sometimes directors have more to do with the writing story than others. You know what I mean? Like Taika Waititi is a great example of a director who writes most of what he does. Same with James Gunn, which puts certain unique style on it.
Yes.
But I don't know how much of this is Peyton Reed's writing is bad, or if it's just the writers for this wrote a bad movie. Because what I will say is Peyton did direct the last movie. I think Peyton Reed's a good director. I think he's great. But I don't think he has his own source material. I think if you give him a good script, he's going to make a good movie. If you give him a shit script, he's going to make a shit movie. And I think this was a shit script, and he made exactly what they gave him. And he did a good job at doing it, and it's just not a good movie.
You're right. I shouldn't be too
That's
hard
what I feel
on
about it.
I agree with you because I don't remember when because I did look up who were the writers of this movie, mainly to see what else they have done to compare, like, movie versus movie type thing, because some writers can have a bad movie and then they can have an excellent movie, you know? So the writers for this movie I did not see were in any other MCU movie.
Probably for this reason.
Yes. And I don't believe Peyton Reed. See, that's the problem. Okay, so I will be a little nicer to Peyton for that, because I agree with everything you just said. I fully agree with you there. But it's up to the writers and the screenplay writers to do your story and do that, and it's up to the director to just direct it and execute that vision. But at the same time, as we know with many other movies, not just Marvel, but many movies, the buck stops with the director for a lot of stuff. If he's directing a scene and he doesn't like it, or there's dialogue that's wrong, there's something wrong, he stops the production and tells them right there in front of him, you need to fix this.
So here's what I'll tell you. I agree with you. That is 100% true.
So that's what makes me think, okay, maybe he's a great director in just behind the camera shooting, but as making sure it's a cohesive narrative speaking, he doesn't have the vision.
Yeah. So, and I think that there's, in Hollywood, in this industry, and I think I'll get a lot of flack for this. If we were very popular, I think there'd be a lot of comments saying I'm wrong, but I think there's a lot of proof in this pudding. There are more, or not more, but there are just as many directors as there are actors trying to get a job in this industry. The ones that we see all the time and talk about the most on our lips when it comes down to directors are the visionaries. They're those guys that when they direct a movie, they putting their spice on it of how they would do a story in their spin.
That's true.
So in movies that we like when it comes down to even Avengers, that's their movie. That's when the Russo brothers took Avengers, they not only directed the thing for Marvel, but they were like, we're developing this story to direct. So it's their vision on that paper into the film, which makes it collaborative, which is why things like Iron Man worked back in the day, because Favreau was a visionary. He's not just a director. He had a plan and he wanted a story to be told a certain way. But when you guys, this is a great example. When you turn on TV shows, most shows have a showrunner, and usually the showrunner directs a few of the episodes, usually like the very first or the last or a special episode. And then most of the time, they're just overall writers that write the overall story. You can go through some TV shows and you have a different director every episode. And guess what? Those guys aren't visionaries. They
They're
might sit
just
down and argue
directors,
with
yeah.
me in a chair saying I am, but truth be told, when this guy's writing Game of Thrones, I'm giving you a script. I'm the showrunner. I hired you to direct. This is what I want you to make. So go make this. Yeah, but nope, that's not what you're here for. You're here to go make this. And they're like, and then they're okay. So they go do whatever's on that page. And I think that's Peyton Reed. I think he's one of those. I think he's had a couple lucky breaks of good movies, of good source material, but ultimately it shows. I think the proof is that he did the first movie and it was so good, but it was someone else's story who happens to be a visionary.
Someone else's vision.
Yeah, and it's someone that does movies like that. On the other side of it, when you got a guy who doesn't like a script and fights with the studio, like Sam Raimi, who's a visionary, you get stuff like Multiverse of Madness, where in Sam's eyes, it's not a terrible movie. And honestly, if you take it out of the MCU, it's really not that bad of a movie.
Yeah.
There's a ton of things in it that are amazing, and his vision works, but it doesn't work for the MCU. So you have to be careful. If you need a visionary, when you need a visionary to make it work, which is like the Russos. We need you. The Avengers movie's got to feel like it comes, there's got to be a flavor from someone. James Gunn, his movies feel that way because there's a flavor, because it's his flavor he's bringing. It's not someone else's writing. So I think that what we're seeing here is we have a director that probably is more of just I'm a director, and this is what the story they want to tell. Yeah, I may have not told it, but this producer here is telling me you're doing it or you're just not going to do it. And we'll find someone that will. And he's like, okay, I'll do it. So I'm not saying that he's at fault, because as a director, the buck does stop with him, because it's going to be him in the long run that they say failed this movie. When the truth is he's a yes man and he's a company man. And I think he's lucky sometimes and he's not lucky sometimes. He lucked out with the first one because someone else wrote it that knew what they're talking about. The people who wrote this one don't know what the hell they're talking about. But to him, he just took it as this must fit in their big universe, so I'm just going to do what they say. He probably doesn't even know. He probably didn't even know what he's doing was contradicting the stuff and not working. So I'm giving him that benefit because I think that he's one of those. When you go watch Law and Order, it's a different director in each one, but does the show really ever feel different? No. You know why? Because they're telling those directors, this is what you're making. So make this. And if you're not going to make it, I'll hire the next guy who's been wanting your job anyways, because he'll do what I tell him to do. And the same thing happens in movies, especially franchise movies. So I think that's what you're running into here. This is just an awfully written movie.
Yeah.
With a guy who made exactly what they put on paper.
Yep.
And that's what you got.
It makes me wonder what beef did Edgar Wright have with Marvel so bad that not only he left the project right before they were starting to film, but that they couldn't have tried to resolve to say, hey, we need your magic again.
I can tell you exactly what it is when we get into my outtake.
Okay.
Or my alternate version. Because he, in an interview I found not long ago, said something about what he would have done with Ant-Man 2 if he was doing them after that first one he wrote. And he would have made it so personal that it would have felt like it was inconsequential to the entire universe.
Because usually when you hire a director to start the first film, they already, especially if they're a visionary, they already have it mapped out in their head where they want to see the story progress in the sequel and the sequel after that. Ryan Coogler, he already knew what he was going to do with Black Panther 3 and 2 after the first one. Like some of these people, they already know what they have planned next.
It's funny because he said his exact words in the interview were, I do believe, I'm paraphrasing, but he says that I would have made this movie based off of one of my favorite comedies before. And I've kind of looked up some of his stuff, and there's a movie he talks about that he really likes a lot as a comedy that I framed my work on redoing. So when we get there, I'll tell you that. But just to kind of give you a tease, one of his favorite comedies is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Now, if that doesn't kind of give you an idea of how that made me realize I know exactly what he was going to do now.
Yeah, well, good.
But we'll talk about it.
This is our hot takes right now.
But you gave me a villain for it too when you did the whole. My hot take's different than that, though. Believe it or not.
Okay, what's your hot take?
So my hot take is this is a perfect example of what you could be doing with the MCU when it comes down to Disney Plus. I think this movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp should have been a one and done. And we get the first movie to introduce him. It was a success. We liked it. But now what do we do with this character that's going to be interesting and it's hard to do? I think the post-credit scene of this movie should have been in Infinity War. And Janet shouldn't have been there. And their reasoning for going into the quantum realm is Scott going in to help him continue to look for Janet. And the entire story should have been an 8-part special presentation on Disney Plus between the events of the last movie up until they do this quantum realm leap and that thing, which would have had no consequences at all on the bigger MCU at all. You wouldn't have to watch it at all. And you could still bring Ghost later. It wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah,
really.
yeah,
It just
look
really
at-
wouldn't
look
have.
at it,
Because
yeah.
nothing in that movie that she comes in that one follows through for her anyways. None of
Yeah,
that.
because when you see her in Thunderbolts, you didn't need an origin. She was just one of the
One
assassins.
of the bad guys. That's right.
Exactly.
She's just another example of one of them that shows up that kicks a lot of butt.
Yep.
That's it. That's all you got to
Yep.
do. And then maybe you take 10 minutes to give her a little something, and it maybe would have made the movie a little better.
You
Actually.
would have had the Disney Plus show be revolved around bringing Janet back.
Yep. And then you could have done a great 8-part series or 8-part mini, hour each, half hour each, whatever, and actually explore what Ant-Man's about, which is about broken families. And I would have had this idea, this whole thing that they're talking about in Ant-Man and what they're always are doing. Let me make sure I say all this right. Is it should have been a TV show, the same story, but then deciding to help Ghost. And at the end, I would have had them decide to help Ghost instead of I think they should have been given the choice that Janet might die. If Janet's in there, she might die if we help Ghost in this miniseries. And I think that it would have been more interesting that they look at each other and would play to this idea of it's okay to be normal and be happy if you have a broken family. All these characters, the misfit of the idea of being the redemption of coming out of jail, being a criminal, and then where you are in the world fits with the Louise and all those guys they're all these criminals that they're all misfit characters that are like kind of like they don't belong and they feel like they don't belong. Cassie with this whole separate family thing, Hank with how rocky that whole is with her being gone for 30 years and how there's an estrangement between him and the daughter over it, and then just how all that this kids today more than ever are struggling with, is it okay that my parents aren't together? Is it okay that one of my parents isn't even around, let alone not together? And you're covering all these bases. Either you're a kid that's done something that the family will shun you for, like going to jail for things and where do you fit in the world when you come back, or you're a kid that has parents that have broke up and you're watching them worry about custody and where you are, which comes into Scott's whole story, or you're a parent who has a parent that's gone and isn't around, whether on their own choice or not, which it kind of is her choice to do what she did. But it was for at least a good reason, right? But that's something that she's dealing with, someone that's never had a mom. My own kids have dealt with those feelings, let alone other people today. You could have really highlighted this topic and been smart writing, kind of like they did in Spider-Man, by looking at that bigger picture of what the themes are and use that theme and made a 6-part series of these kids would have related and they would have understood, and having them choose Ghost at the end to get the particles for the sake that Janet might not make it because we don't even know if she's there is a way of her forgiving and letting go of the fact that I don't need my mom to be the kind of woman I want to be. This movie does the opposite of that. And it makes, so when you get to the end, you realize they didn't even have to do this because this is what's going on. You realize it was really, this is just a whole misunderstanding. And you lose that theme. They think they get it. Because to them, the theme is the family comes together and they're back. In Disney, it's just not the real world, man. Sometimes it is. More the other way. More times do the families not come back together. More times is that person just gone. And I would think there would have been a better story for Wasp. There would have been a better story for the rest of them if it was an exception that she's gone. I'm not saying she don't come back eventually. I'm just saying it just shouldn't have happened now. This should have stuck with that theme. What a powerful thing that would have been if they would have done. Man, cracking up. Sorry, guys, we were talking a lot. What a powerful thing that would have been if it would have been. Yeah, we have to let her go.
Yeah.
What a scene between them two, the father and daughter, of them deciding to save the life of someone that's here right now that we know is here. And we got to let your mother go. She's been gone this long. It's time to let her go. Wow. An emotional punch that would give all these kids out there that are like, all these times I wonder where my parents are. I don't need them to be who I need to be. Boy, that could have been a powerful statement for the MCU to their fans. Hell yeah. It just, and it should have been in a show. I think it would have worked a lot better. And you still could have done a post-credit scene. Just Janet's not there. It's just would have been Hope and Hank. And it's still them saying, look, we still have hope that we can find her. So Scott, being the guy he is like, I'll go in for you, Hank, and I'll look. Thanks, Scott. And he goes and they dust away. And we have this, nothing changes in the MCU. Nothing changes.
You would still have Janet come back later.
And then there's discussion. Yeah, I would like to, because she is a big character. I'm not saying I want her gone. I just think there's more powerfulness in her not being here now.
Yes, and the character arcs for that.
Because then when you do get her, you're not seeing the family still in the same kind of distress. It's like, because when we get her now and everything's resolved, and then we get into this quantum mania and it falls apart again, like it kind of does in a way, or feels like it does, or it's real convoluted, it doesn't feel earned. I would have rather that something happened in the quantum mania thing. I'll have to do a lot of thinking about that, but I would have rather in the third movie, or season 2. But I think a movie would be okay.
Because they're trying to bring it back into the main.
Trying to bring it,
I get it.
Because I don't want it to come from the shows.
Exactly.
But their second going should have been a film, or should have been the show.
Yeah.
And it would have fit Ant-Man better. It'd have fit Paul Rudd better. It'd have been a comedy show. You could have had one episode dedicated to all the other crazy guys, and it just would have been fun. And it would have been neat. And you could have explored this theme deeper about what it means to be a stepfather, what it means to be a broken family, what it means to deal with someone that's gone, and then ultimately making the right decision at the end, which would have been to say, no matter what you say, anyone can say to us, the right thing to do is, Janet, we don't know is there or not. We just don't know. So why would you let this person die? As soon as you know that this is what she's doing it for, it'd be like, well, shit. What do we do? What should we do? What do heroes do? And even if you make Hank be the person that pushes against that, you make Ant-Man be the one that makes it happen. That to me is my hot take, what this movie, what this could have been and what it should have been. Truthfully. And that would have made me, this is how you utilize the Disney Plus. So you still get a TV show, you still get that fun stuff with these big characters. But if you're someone like me who I didn't catch it, or you just don't want to watch them, nothing happens in it. That means when you get into Endgame, you need to see any of that stuff. It doesn't matter. Nothing changed. And you still got to go outgoing with these guys.
Yeah.
And then if you did see it, any kind of character development that was there that might shine through is extra for you.
Yeah.
But not needed.
That's how the shows and the movies should have complemented each other.
They should have embraced this theme of the broken family thing. They started it in the first one, which is, I think, what Hughes was going for. I think he wanted to, because a lot of his stuff, it actually kind of has that theme anyways. I think he thought Ant-Man was the best way to do it. And he was right. But they lost all concept of whatever theme there is in this. There's none. What's the theme of this movie? Seriously, in the long run. It's nothing.
There's nothing.
There's nothing. And they even have, in some of the writing, it's there. This whole idea of, and not only is there a broken family, the one parent is gone, Paul's the stepfather, but Ghost has no parents. She's literally adopted by a guy. Like, there's people out there that are gonna. My father isn't even my real father. Like, she's this girl that has been being taken. He tells her in this, I won't let you go. Like, I'm not going to give up on you.
Mhm.
Why aren't we capitalizing on this theme? Because this is what your audience is going to relate. You're going to have tears in the audience. You get 2 or 3 members that have an adopted parent that has sat there and said, no matter what's happened or what you've done or how you've gotten to this place, I'll never leave you alone. And I'll never let you do it alone.
Mhm.
And they do it in one scene in this, they'd have been bawling. And you'd have been like, wow, it's amazing. The emotional connection would have made this work so well.
Mhm.
And they just fumbled the ball hardcore on that.
Mm.
It's right there. It's right there. But that's the difference between the smart writing and then, like, when you go watch Spider-Man, that's right there. When Peter sits down and becomes Aunt May, spoiler alert. No, but when Peter sits down and does that thing I told you and becomes something that he wasn't in that moment, it's not obvious. But if you're watching the writing, it's like, now it makes sense. And I think that's why I think it's gonna be fun when we do watch a second time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's smart writing though. That's smart writing. And I think that all the things in that movie point to what was smart. That's why I think that end is almost like, oh my God, it's almost, but yeah, we gotta do this soon.
Yeah.
Because I kind of want to watch it again with that heavier in my head, but I
Mhm.
really want you to watch it looking for it
Mhm.
and see because if it's not there, I'm going to need you to be like, dude, I didn't see it. And maybe
Yeah.
I'll even turn to you and say, yeah, I was wrong. Sorry, dude. It's like, but initially this is what I thought. So, but yeah, with this, though, they had this opportunity and it's just not there. So that's my hot take.
All right.
Unfortunately, I feel bad for them because it could have really worked.
Mhm. Okay, well, I didn't really have a hot take, so I'm letting yours just
Yeah,
go
it's
there.
tough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my only hot take, I've been saying it throughout the whole thing, is this needed different writers and directors. And so
Would you have tuned into that show if that was what it was? Would you think that would have felt better?
it would have felt more like a show.
And it
It
would
would
have,
have made this better.
yeah.
Yes.
You just felt like it was substance to it,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
Then you don't
I
have to do
agree.
all this techie
It
stuff
would
that
have
doesn't
made
make any
me it would
sense.
have made me care for the characters more.
Yeah, yes.
That's the whole goal is. You have to get your audience
Oh,
trapped with them emotionally so you could be with them for longevity.
especially in this with those kind of themes, because it's something we're kind of seeing in the MCU with all the parents and all that.
Yep.
But it's been really neat that this was the one that's on the nose.
Yeah.
That this is the one we really make it about.
Okay, guys. So,
Yeah, the quick answers here.
quick answers. Best scene of the movie.
Oh, what did I write down? Because best scene.
Best scene for me was the Wasp action scene, the first one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to that as well. And if I was to say the best scene that didn't involve action is going to be part of what I said in the first act that worked
Mhm.
is that whole fort heist. It is a great setup. Exactly what you said oh, no wonder she's going to become like her dad. He's
Yep.
literally teaching her how to do it through their plane.
Yeah.
And he's having a ball doing it. And it just is like, to me, that was the warm and fuzzies that the rest of this movie didn't continue with, So, yeah, to me, that's the best scene on top. And then if I were to pick an action scene, I guess it would be the kitchen fight. So, yeah,
Yeah. All
good
right.
call on that.
So, least best scene.
Probably the last 15 minutes, except for one moment.
So,
I just was kind of mind boggled about this is what we're doing.
the
I'm trying to pick
yeah.
a specific scene, but
The
go ahead.
what I put for my least best scene, because I feel like it's not
Mm.
consequential to the whole movie, is the Black Arms dealers with Sonny with Louise and
Yeah.
that thing with his friends.
It's funny though.
It's funny, yes, but it's the only time it's
I
okay.
know, you're right.
If this was still part of the first movie formula, that worked amazingly. But it felt like it was out of place with what they were doing with this mediocre movie.
Mm.
And because of that, there's no follow through or consequences with Sonny, with Louise. They're just there just to be there. And I don't like that. It's almost like they're really good. Why are they there still? If they're
Yeah,
not going to put them in a good movie. I don't know. That's just my thought.
I agree, and that's just it. It's just a terrible story, and
Yeah.
yeah. I think I was thinking along the same similar lines. I really don't like the school scene.
I don't like the school scene either. No.
And I gave that scene a specific pass only because I did think that was funnier than the school scene, as much as it really is inconsequential.
Mm,
The school scene at least has something to do with what they're trying to do, but it really just fell flat and not funny that it came off kind of cringy.
mm.
And at least the Louise stuff wasn't cringy; it just was unnecessary. But I can see that both have the least value. So to me, it's hard to pick between the two. But I think I'd go with the school one the most because I really felt disappointed with that one myself.
Yeah. All right. Best villain moment.
I struggle with this one. What do you think? Because I'm struggling between three of them, and your take might sway me.
So the problem with the villain stuff, like I said, is this. If you're referring to villain as Ghost, she's more of a sympathetic villain. There's only one time that she got real villainy, and that was when she said that she would kidnap Cassie and hold her for ransom. And Lawrence Fishburne talks her off the ledge of that.
Yeah.
But that is probably the only scene where if she was a true villain, that's where it was coming out. And I get it, her desperation of wanting to stay alive and doing whatever it takes to do it would have led her to do something like that. But she doesn't do it. So it's just a talking moment.
Yeah.
So
that was the one I was struggling with because for the exact same reason. Like the only time I really feel in this that she might cross the line is when she thought about doing that.
mhm.
And that was the only time that made you go, "Ooh, this is when someone's pushed far enough. What can happen?" You
Yep.
know. And I think that that's the perfect one to pick. I was just gonna pick like some of the stuff she had done, like just in like the fighting and all that too. But when it comes down to emotionally, I wanted to pick a good one, and that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the stuff is you feel bad for her, even though she's kind of being the antagonist, right?
Yeah.
But that one was the first time you're like, "Oh, whoa, that's
Yeah.
too far."
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I think that needed to be there. Yeah,
Yeah. That's
I
that's
agree
my
with you
best.
on that one.
All right. Most punchable face.
I got a couple.
I have one in particular. The rest are like
So,
I want to hear yours.
uh, I'm gonna say one, and then I'm gonna let you tell me yours. And I don't know if I'll say the other ones of mine, but forever and always, no matter what, this person has gained their place in position of a punchable face that needs this face punched. I don't care what they do to redeem themselves. I don't care how much they try to do it. This person is always going to get this punch because this is who they are, and we know it's who they are. And that's Cassie's mom is going to get it until she gets it. She's going to get it from me. So I am winding up, and she's going to get a good old sucker to the face because that stupid, like I don't care. It's all fake. You're fake as hell. I see through you. I know what was going on before. You were petty. That was some petty shit. And she's still petty. And it's just, I don't like her. I'm not convinced.
She's only in it for some little bit of comic relief, and even that, it was to me was kind of falling flat. Like you're trying too hard. It's like
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and what
It's
that
only
says
because
to
he's a
me,
hero now.
yes, and what that says to me is there's this huge fakeness about her.
Mm-hmm.
It's unlikable.
Mm-hmm.
You've ruined that character.
Mm-hmm.
Why is she still in any part of it? No, it would have been better if she just didn't show her face there.
I agree.
But my most punchable face is the rogue FBI agent that's working with Sonny Birch. That
Okay.
you know,
That's a good one.
and I'm part of me is like, why? You never find out that he's getting money from him type thing. He just has a rogue FBI agent that I got people in my pocket. Be like, okay. And then he ends up getting like hurt by Ava anyways. You're horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, no,
I like that
punch you in the face. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Anyways.
There was a couple moments I kind of wanted to punch Hank.
Yeah.
I'm like, really, guy? Really? With your bullshit right now?
At this point, I'm expecting it now because, like I said, it's a little more comic accurate. So I'm like, that's okay. I'll keep it.
Yeah, I think this is why I don't give it to him because he's supposed to have that edge. It makes you feel that way.
Yep.
And at least they had that because I still think Michael Douglas did a great job in this. Like he did the first. But there's a couple times I'm kind of like, man, I could just give you a good old socker to the face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the mom still earned it in my. She's got a lot to do if she wants to not have that happen.
Yeah, I agree. All right, one prop.
Oh, this was tough. Because it was hard. There's a lot of stuff in this. I wouldn't mind a little model of the building. I'm not gonna lie.
That is
As much
kinda
as the
cool,
building's an issue.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mine was the mint box.
Oh, great choice.
Yeah.
Great
Because
choice.
it's like throughout the whole thing that's where they put the suit in, the new suit. That's where they put the ants in. It's just it's in the mint box. It's in the mint box.
Yeah.
My heart mess in it.
I actually would think it'd be cool too if we had the replica of the toy cars they use to make them bigger and
That Hot Wheels.
yeah, that'd be
thing,
neat.
that'd be
kind of
cool.
cool. Yeah. So so I think I thought that too at the time. So
All right, most underrated moment.
I did write something down.
So mine, I already spoiled it in the first act. Mine
Oh.
is Scott and Cassie playing heist. I think it's underrated because it's mainly underrated because when I watched Ant-Man Wasp Quantumania, and I thought, why is she going down this life of crime? And it hit me as I'm doing my retrospective for this Ant-Man the Wasp movie that, oh, he kind of taught her the building blocks of that. So she didn't have to be bad or do bad stuff like that, but she's following in her father's footsteps to a degree, you know?
Yeah.
It's almost like one of those things of when you idolize your parent, because Cassie obviously idolizes Scott a lot. You want to be everything that they are. Sometimes you even take on their bad qualities
Right.
because it makes them why you love them and why they redeem themselves.
Well, and you're also learning what those bad qualities are because you're repeating things and you don't realize the opposite side of it.
Yes.
It's glorified in your eyes. Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep. So I kind of like that. I think that's an underrated moment for me.
Yeah, you convinced me that's a good one. The one I had put was actually the Louise stuff with the truth serum and all that. Only because I do think it's funny. But that right there, I never thought of that in this movie, which is weird. I never caught that, but yeah, I like that. So I'm changing my answer to yours because it's obviously something that's missed, and it supports the whole being a good parent, stepfather thing, and or being her father.
Yeah.
In the middle of being someone that's estranged and all that. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Overrated moment.
Overrated moment. Janet fixing Ghost. It's so stupid.
Mine's very adjacent to that. Mine is the whole killing Janet by draining her life force thing.
Yeah, so it's
whole,
pretty much part of the same premise.
Yeah,
Why I don't like it is because she wasn't going to die anyway.
Yes.
It's so stupid.
I don't
The
get
climax is gone. Like, what?
Yeah.
Way underwhelming. You can be underwhelming and be cool, but this wasn't. Or creative, at least. This didn't do that.
Yeah, I agree. Funniest moment.
Okay, so
I only have one, honestly. And it has nothing to do with most of these characters.
I got two.
Okay. All right, you go.
I got three.
Okay.
Two of them are woo. I love that. I'm also a youth pastor. Like, so funny. And I like the magic trick thing. When he's like, how do you, like, he just is so into it. Yeah. What I love about his character is he almost wants to be his buddy, but he still has to be the guy that putting him in his place. But ultimately, he kind of wants to hang out with Scott. Like, he likes Scott, but he's not supposed to like Scott. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as you could tell, he's like, he puts it, it's like he has two different parts of him, and that's what makes him so funny. The other one is actually from Paul, because he always almost makes me smirk anyway. But I did laugh out loud with the comment about, these aren't disguises. We look like us going to a baseball game.
Yep.
And I'm just like, that's funny because they do. Like, it's the Captain America disguise, right?
That is good. Yeah.
So I enjoy that, but that's it. That's really all. I mean, other than that, I think and then I left out Louis stuff, but I think the strong thing about this movie is the comedy. Like, I still laughed a ton in this movie. It's just all the stuff in between made me not care.
There was a lot of the
still
comedy
laughed
that fell flat for me. The only ones that really stuck out were anything that Paul was trying to do, whether it was improvising or this was his writing style or whatever, because he did contribute to it to make sure his characters stayed consistent. So I appreciate that.
I agree. Where it didn't work in this one compared to the first is in the moments where the ensemble needed to join in on it, didn't work anymore.
Yeah, it all fell flat.
But when it was just a couple people being funny, they played, like, him and Wu were great together. Anything Louise did alone or with him is great.
Yep.
So I would say the group there that they used to be criminals and now they're a security firm, they were funnier in this than they were in the first.
They were, yes.
Like, I enjoyed them more in this one than I did the first. So it's like, it's weird that how some of the stuff that shouldn't be working did, and the stuff that, you really want to work didn't. So that's kind of how, yeah.
Yeah. So my funniest moment is actually Stan Lee.
Oh, it's yeah.
When the car shrinks and he says the 60s were fun, but I'm paying for it now. I'm like, that is hilarious. I laughed out loud so much. I'm like, that is one of the best Stan Lee lines ever. Good job.
He's so good. He was so. I miss seeing him, and
I do too. Yeah. Oh, he would have been great in Brand New Day. Yeah.
He could have had a nice little part somewhere.
Have a really good part. Yeah. All right, so
he'd have liked that movie.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he would.
They made him proud for Peter there.
I think so.
Most emotional moment.
I'm gonna give it to Lawrence Fishburne telling her he'll never leave her side.
That's better than mine. That's good.
That's real deep.
That really is. I'm just gonna say that's mine too.
Because that's something that, like I said, if you did this right and really dove into those themes, man, you could have some very emotional feelings there. And I think that really hit that there.
Yeah.
You know?
That I agree with that. All right. Final scores, Gal.
Oh no.
Okay, so story out of 2 for you. I have 0.5.
Yeah, me too.
Characters.
I'll give that a 1.
I have it a 1. Yep.
Because half of these people are still awesome. The other half don't need to be there.
I agree. Completely. Action and visuals.
I'm going to give that a 2.
Yep, me too.
Yep, I think they held up.
Emotion and stakes.
1.
Yep, I did the same thing. Rewatchability and MCU impact. So I split my score for this one. Because for me, rewatchability is a 0.5. I could go without watching that movie ever. I don't think there's anything of that movie that's consequential enough the need to know for the rest of the movies.
I agree with you.
The only thing, the MCU impact, is what I gave a 2 because of the post-credits scene alone. Right? Does that sound fair, or do I be a little generous with the MCU impact? Because for the rest of the movie, other than it's introducing the quantum realm to us, is the only MCU impact. The only thing.
But it really doesn't introduce it well.
No, it just means they can tap into it
in this
now.
movie don't even apply later.
So yeah, maybe I'll just say 0.5 for the whole thing.
But I don't think you're wrong in thinking the most important thing in this is that post-credit scene.
Mm-hmm.
That has to happen for Endgame to work.
But as you said before, that could have been the post-credit scene of Infinity War.
Yeah.
That would have made much more sense and just skip this whole movie.
I hate to give a movie 2 whole points over one scene.
That's true.
But it is the most important scene between Infinity War and Endgame. That's the argument there. Without that scene, we'd be like, where was he and why?
Mm-hmm.
None of that would have made sense in the beginning.
So maybe just split this down as a 1 out of 2? The 0 for the rewatchability and the 1 for the quantum realm.
I think you have a good strong argument to give it the 2.
Yeah.
For that reason.
All right. Yeah, because that's literally what I put here is 0.5/2. The only MCU impact of the quantum realm.
But what I am going to say with the caveat, the rewatchability side of that is almost none.
Yeah.
And because of that 2 might be there, but it's definitely going to still reflect negatively on the overall.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just like you can't let that one scene be the only reason this movie's good.
Yeah, so yours would be more like 0 of 2.
Yeah,
and then mine's 0.5.
Yeah, I could never see this again.
Yeah,
fine.
Yep, I agree.
In fact, I don't know if I ever will watch it again.
Me too. I feel bad about that because I remember having favorable viewings of this movie, and then we do a retro, and I'm like, ooh, oh my,
yeah,
yikes. Okay, final scores. So, like I said in the very beginning of our retrospective, this is a great definition of a mid-movie.
Yeah, but I'm changing my mind on that.
There's
I'm trying to be fair with movies that we put mid before this. And this has got a lot of problems. It's got a lot of plot holes. It's got a lot of things that don't make sense. It's got a lot of things that...
drop the balls.
A lot. Like, a lot. Like, if I were to say, most movies that we talk about when we do our retrospectives, you could say, what's the theme of this movie? And in a good 3 or 4 minute conversation, you can come on, oh, this is about family. This is about this. This is about that overall, right?
Yeah, but
I cannot think of what's the theme of this movie.
The one thing I would say, though, is the sequel to this, Quantumania, definitely deserves lower than this one.
Oh, yes.
So it's hard for us to say, like, just throwing out a random number. If we were going to give this one a 2, be like, oh, That's pretty low. We need to make sure Quantumania is lower because we have so much that's wrong with that movie.
Truthfully, I think Quantumania is only better than one movie in the MCU at this point.
I have a feeling.
And I think you know just what
I
two
know
I'm talking
exactly.
about.
I know exactly.
There's
Good
only
job,
one-
Quantumania. You stepped up.
There's only one movie worse than Quantumania.
Oh my God! Yes.
So
that's so sad.
because it did it, you know, it's also because it's a continuation of something that's themeless.
Yes.
So it's even more so. It's more the same drag.
Yes.
Of
At
this
least
means nothing.
The other one, they're picking up from a great theme and then drop it right
the other
down.
one, it just cuts the throat of what they came from.
Yep.
This one, at least this one stays true to its bullshit. The other
Mm.
one doesn't.
Yes.
The other one ruins it. The other one is a swing that should have never happened.
Yep.
And in fact, going forward in Doomsday and stuff, I'm worried about how I'm going to feel about it.
Yep.
For that reason. Anyway,
I'm feeling it right there. So
I don't like that he even could call himself that, and it's like I don't like it. No. Anyway, yeah. So overall score then.
What's your final score out of 10?
This movie really, I don't want it to be worse than some I know are worse, but I know it's not the one that's on right now, but like,
oh yeah.
Speaking of that dog shit, anyway,
Yeah, just I
don't think it deserves mid, but I will say it is better than a few coming.
So maybe a 4, or is that too generous?
You know, it's funny. A 4 feels too generous, and a 3.5 almost feels too low.
So,
but
think about it this way: we gave Incredible Hulk 3.
Oh, we did.
Yes. Do you think Ant-Man and the Wasp was better than Incredible Hulk?
Yeah, no.
You think Hulk was better? Or
fundamentally, Hulk has got less plot holes. It's just nothing happened.
Yep, I believe
that's our biggest problem with Hulk. Is it started where it began, and it just didn't need to be a movie.
Yep.
This doesn't go anywhere, and yet needed to.
If I remember right, I think we gave Hulk a 3.
You know what? I'm going to give it a 3. I think this can, because when I think about it, it's my same argument. Is this movie's got no theme, it's got no path, there's really nowhere it's going. It kind of ends nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
The Hulk ends nowhere. So I think that as soon as you said that about Hulk, and I thought 3, it felt right in my gut. So I'm going 3 overall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this sits right in there with, watch it so you saw it, but then realize it's so
non-consequential.
You could not see the
or
Incredible
entertaining.
Hulk. Right, you could not see the Incredible Hulk, and you could not see this, and the rest of the MCU is going to make just as much sense.
Yep.
Just make sure you hit the post-credit scene of this one. Other than that, you don't need to see it.
All right. Well, so I do agree that I can't give this mid like a 5, but
I can't say it's that much better than Incredible Hulk, though.
No, it's funny. It's on par with how bland it is, but it's different type of bland.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep, that's why the 3 felt right.
Truthfully. So, you know what? I think I'll just do that. Because I was going to give it a 4, but I really do think that 3 is a safe bet.
A little more honest about it.
So my score is a 3. Your score is a 3. The official Goodell Multiverse score for Ant-Man and the Wasp is 3 out of 10. All right. So you're either one sentence review, or you just jump into your pitch.
I got a couple pitches. So I'm going to pitch the first one that's just kind of out there. So the first pitch I have, I'm not going to go into too much detail because I think it would have been a unique idea because I brought this up in the first movie. I think this movie should have been the first movie. And the first movie should have been a Hank Pym as Ant-Man movie.
Okay. All right.
This movie should have been a movie more dedicated to Paul and his personal story with the guy with Yellow Jacket coming in and doing the thing that he did. I actually think the first movie would have served better as its second in the series. And the first should have been a whole different movie where we see Hank turning everything over to Paul Rudd's character. And then we go into this next one like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would have served this story better. Or there would have been more creative writing in that, in my opinion. But I don't have a pitch for that movie in particular, but I do think it would have been it would have made more sense to me.
Yeah.
We would have got the original Ant-Man and stuff and had fun.
Mm-hmm.
They could have almost gotten away with like a back in the day Ant-Man movie.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
To be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'll tell you what, the one thing this movie does do right, if you're going to give it any kind of credit, is that de-aging stuff looked great.
Oh,
Still,
yes.
like
Yes.
it still looks great. I'm not saying de-age them, but you could have hired 2 younger actors to be close to them. That would have been great to do a movie that's half and half,
Mhm.
where he's reflecting on the beginning stuff, so you see a lot of action there, and he's trying to do something by recruiting this new guy. And then by the second movie, we get Paul's story, which will be the Yellow Jacket story. Then we can go into the third and talk about something different someday.
Yeah.
But I think that would have been more service to like maybe a more, if you're going to do a trilogy, I think it would have been a little better.
Yeah.
Very, very akin to actually Captain America, if you think about it. Start in the past, come to the middle, and then
Mhm.
America kind of hints on the future, right?
Yep.
So with that said, I think the original idea for this was think Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but as Ant-Man. I think that there's a movie here that should have never left the house while he's under house arrest. I think the entire movie should have been in the house.
I'm listening. I'm interested.
And I think that there should have been somebody, maybe even kind of Janet could have started something in a way of trying to get out of the quantum realm, maybe. And something opens up in the house and Cassie gets pulled into it. And he shrinks everybody, or him, and maybe a couple other characters.
Mhm.
And the entire movie should have been in them small, in the house, with a villain loose in the house with them trying to do something. And the only times you're big is the people on the outside, which you could have him talking with Luis and them getting something done for them out there. Wu would have been around knocking the door, making sure he's there. There could have been a funny story with him, but I don't think the story would have left the house at all. And I think the villain of that in the long run could have been the TVA coming in to try to close up the quantum realm.
Okay.
And they're trying to prevent them from doing it because they want to try to get Janet out.
Mm.
Then you're not running into this whole the powers and trying to save someone's life and all that bullshit. It's the TVA going, you're messing with something that you shouldn't be messing with. We're going to close this up. And it's them fighting them. And maybe something Hank was testing on shrunk them and they're not able to get big until the people on the outside get something done to get it into them. So the house becomes their battleground.
Mm.
And the TVA sends a guy, go take care of these dudes and just come up with a character.
And the TVA takes Cassie?
I wouldn't say TVA takes Cassie, but I'd say that something, maybe that is out of it. Maybe take the Cassie thing she'd be taken out of it. But I think her being involved in it would be cool.
Okay.
It puts some stakes in there,
Like
a little
she
bigger.
shrunk too or something?
Yep, that she's with them there. And it's dangerous for her because she's a kid.
Okay.
But it would have been neat, I think. It would have been fun. I probably would have had her stepdad go with him from the first movie.
Yeah, I agree that. I think
Then
that
you got
makes
2 people that you're protecting, and then have Paul, Wasp, and one other.
Hank.
Sure, Hank. Yep, and they're there too, and they're all small, along with small TVA guy and whoever they send out to take care of him, and it's just some badass guy that they got to fight. I don't have any details on the villain, but you could even do similar kind of powers of Ghost. But just imagine it all small in the house.
Mhm.
All the sets, everything, like it's just used, like it's, imagine like a cat coming in or something, just random things that are just gonna be like, holy shit. Like I think the action sequences would have been so creative and fun because you'd have had to do it in the guise of all the stuff in your home. As how can you make some epic sweeping action shot, but it's all in a house, which they do well in this though, with that kind of stuff. Like they're very smart on that part of it.
Yeah.
I think that could have, I think that was going to be the movie. I think it was going to be more funny than anything else. Then you'd have Louise and them guys out there being the sneaky like they are, trying to get Pym particles into them so they can get big again, but trying to do it so the FBI and them don't see them doing it, and make that world collide out there. Could you imagine Louise and Wu's interactions? I think that'd be hilarious. Like, I think it'd be funny watching Wu dealing with how Louise is telling him a story. Like,
Yep.
he it just would bother him, right? Like, but I think that would work. And then you give everybody something to do. Everybody's got something to do. There's a reason why his friends are there, and they're trying to get in there to help. Wu's there to make sure he stays, and maybe he's there to talk. And this part of this is keeping him out of the house, right? And then in the house, they're battling this idea that if we let the TVA get rid of the quantum realm, then I'll never know if Janet's in there. So now the stakes are there, because you would agree, let them try to find her. We wouldn't want that to happen. And the TVAs would be a great way to introduce them, and then just have a villain come in that you don't see TVA stuff after you introduce them, and it's just the villain doing things. And it doesn't even say TVA on him. It's just, you just know that's where he's from. Then it's a quick little introduction to them that we're gonna be like, what is that about again? And then when it does come up later, we're gonna be like, oh, cool, that's cool. Like, that makes sense. And now the TVA is actually introduced in a movie and not in a show. And it's, a little more, makes a little more sense, and something you can follow. Or give you reason to want to go watch the show, because it is about TVA stuff. See what I'm trying to say?
I see that. I can see that. And it gives a little nod to what's going to happen after Endgame. Like, it still feels more of a continuation then.
Yep.
I get that.
And then you can still have the same post-credit scene.
Yep.
Like, and you bring Janet back without powers and doing bullshit. You could have it work. You could have everything work out the way you had it. And you'd have this movie that we come out of that going, not one bit of that movie took place outside of that home. So when you look at the bigger picture of the MCU, there's a whole awesome, epic, fun, not epic, but like a fun, action-packed, funny story that happened all in the walls of this house, which would be very reminiscent to the idea that the big epic fight at the end of the first one was a train set. Like, it's so, like, you're seeing things fall, and just when you're with them, it's like, holy cow. But when you're looking at it the other way, it's like, nothing's going on in there. Like, what's happening? The train just falls over, but then it's like exploding. It's like, I think that would definitely give a lot of comedy to the whole situation. You know what I mean? On top of it.
That would be very interesting. I'd be curious to fully flesh out something like this. And
I would to do details on it for sure. I think I could have fun with it.
Yeah.
Because each room is deadly at this point, right? When you're, it could be a lot of fun.
I like that. I can see me doing it like one of my Mirror Dimension episodes. I've wanted to do theorizing on rewriting stuff or whatever. That could be something that you could do.
And if not the TVA, I think whatever the villain would be someone that's trying to get rid of the quantum realm, which would give them the reason to be fighting for it, because they want to go look for Janet.
Yeah.
I think that makes more of an emotional sense than what they did in this movie. And I think that's kind of what Hughes was getting at, because that's all Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is about, is they accidentally get shrunk, and it's the journey across their own home to get to where they need to get to make themselves big again.
Yep.
That's the whole movie. I think that's what he was going to do with this.
That would have been cool.
And I would have been all about that.
Yeah, just add superheroes into it.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. All right. Any other pitches? Or that was your main one?
That was my main one. And then the other one was just the idea that I think the first movie should have been the second one.
Yeah.
And then my hot take is the best way to go would have been the TV show.
Yeah.
Because that, like I said, that would have highlighted the themes. You could have really gone out with that. And but that's,
all right.
To me, I mean, all three of those projects would have been better than what we saw.
I don't have a pitch for this. I like your pitches for these. I am curious enough to see. One thing, I have not watched Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
You should. It's hilarious.
So now what I should do is watch that, think about Ant-Man, and then ask you, all right, how would you have done this? Because I think you got something there.
Yeah. It's Rick Moranis. It's old school. It's great comedy back in the day. I do think you'd enjoy watching that. But now when you do watch Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, you definitely, if you think of it through the guise of now think of this as an Ant-Man movie, you'd be like, there's some cool things you can do here. Like, just think of, you could, as a writer, you could just sit in a room and be like, what action scene could I do in this room if everything was small? And just write it. Like, and then you just got the story going. You know what I mean? Have the climax be somewhere real odd. Can you imagine if it's in a washing machine or some shit? Like, just the idea of they're in the water. I mean, just there's so many crazy things you could do. That could be a lot of fun.
This would be really cool. I'm excited to dive into that a little bit. But thank you guys for staying with us for the Goodell Multiverse podcast and our retrospective of Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ike, what are we doing next? I think you got the next week.
I do believe is that this right here? Yeah, I got it right here. Same thing or no?
No, that's next week's script already.
My bad.
Well,
I'm going to tell you way too. Oh, yeah, just because I want to get to it so bad.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you for reminding me.
You
That's
got
why
it.
I grabbed
I saw the
paper.
colors and I'm like, wait a minute.
That's wrong. That's why Sammy does so good at organizing this stuff, guys. He's so awesome at it. So next week we're going to be doing look for the X2 X-Men United Special retrospective is releasing next week. Sammy's been working hard on that with all the other editing we were doing. I've finally kind of started jumping in, doing some editing now that he's taught me as well. But guys, like I said, we're just dudes with our cameras, phones.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing the best we can, so stick with us. And the X-Men ones might be taking a little time, but trust me, they're coming and they're great. And I think we're going to film for the third one soon here, right? We're talking about next weekend or weekend after sometime. Real soon, like, yeah. So look out for that, guys. We're going to be doing our retrospective next week on Captain Marvel. This is our last film until we get to Endgame.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a fun one. And did we decide if we're still doing a trivia takedown this next week, or did we discuss doing something different? Because I knew we said maybe, because we had a lot of news that we wanted to talk about.
We had a lot of news, but I think in this episode we covered all the Marvel news up to date. So next week, I believe our news is more DC focused.
Okay.
And so we can do a trivia.
Okay.
It just might not be a super long one because we got a lot we're going to be filming for the next week.
Yeah.
So, but we might be able to do a trivia. We'll do something.
So here's what I'll tell you guys: is the trivia takedown and all that we do. We do want to do more of them, but this section is basically there for when we don't specifically have a branch point to give you. So if by chance throughout the week something comes up that we really think needs to take the place, don't be surprised when you tune in next week that we'll let you know in the beginning. Hey, by the way, guys, we'll scratch the trivia takedown before we scratch anything else in order to put something unique in. Because, there's a possibility maybe we'll go see Spider-Man again before then, and we might want to take that few minutes for you to talk about if you still feel the same way, or us reacting to how people have been taking it. We might want to take a few minutes to talk a little more about it. If that's the case, that might be what we do. If not, then I'm sure we'll have a couple fun games that we're going to play. Yeah. So either way, there'll be something cool going on there. But as of right now on the schedule, we got Trivia Takedown, so come for that. Watch that, guys. Maybe more Spider-Man talk, see how it goes throughout the week. And other than that, guys, like, subscribe, Facebook, TikTok, anywhere you watch podcasts. Seriously, guys, go on there, hit the follow, hit the like button. Doesn't cost you a thing. If you watch us at all, even just for a minute, just do it because it'll help us out. We're trying our best, and we want to get to where we can do some live streaming. And now that we know we need a whole bunch of followers to do that,
we need your help.
Yeah, we need your help. Even if you don't watch a lot of us, help us get there. Because I just today met two people that at a gas station that live local to us that watch us, and it made me feel, hey, people are watching, cool, and it's hard starting out, because you don't want it to get in your head when it comes down to numbers and things, but at the same time, you want people to watch because that's kind of why we're doing it. But
yeah,
I've always liked this because we talk this anyway, so now it's permanently down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of neat that we can go back and look at. It'd be kind of cool, 30 years from now to go back and watch some of these and see if we felt the same way.
Yeah, right.
Just the fact that our kids can watch it later, all that stuff. I think that there's a lot there that's fun. So, and hey, some things don't get watched until way later after they've been made anyway. So we're not basing off of how we're doing things on whether we get popular or not.
We're doing this.
But we would like the views because there's more. I think why we'd like the views is there's more we want to do.
There's more opportunities for us if we get more views, if we get more subscriptions, if we get more likes on our Facebook page, little things, our Instagram follows, all that stuff. Yeah. It opens up the doors for these social media companies to let us do a little bit more stuff and just have fun with it. And most importantly, you guys to be entertained too. So,
and we want to do some Comic-Con stuff. We can bring you some great content, that kind of stuff. Maybe get a couple little interviews at the Comic-Con because we do have. Hey, look at the followers we got. Would you do a quick interview? Hey, a couple questions with someone. It'd be awesome for us to meet people and do those things and bring content to you guys if people that aren't doing it. So, yeah, I hope you like this. Sorry if you guys love Antman and Wasp and we just kind of crapped all over your day, but join us for next week. Got anything else did they add there, Sammy?
No, nothing really else. You said everything. Yeah, like well, my brother already said, like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies. We need everyone to be watching and tuning into us. And until next time, we'll see you at the movies.